All right, welcome back to another edition of 13 Cards of Change. I am here today, and it's a day after. I'm going to say happy 4th of July, everybody. It's a day late, but hey. And again, as always, I get Zach sitting across from me doing this thing again.
And it's just the two of us this time. Once again, we're just trying to get some people on the show. Scheduling doesn't always work out, but hey, it is what it is. All right, so Leroy, a lot of stuff has happened since we turned the podcast on last. Wow.
Definitely, yeah.
We finally got back to wrestling after the whole Speak Out movement situation going on.
Thank God.
Yeah, no, we were able to obviously get back into certain things here. Today's show is going to be chock full of not too much Raw or SmackDown. I'm going to save that for maybe next week, kind of, wrap all that up. A couple of big events have been happening over this last week. Night one of both the Great American Bash and, yes, Spot Monkey Wrestling's Fyter Fest. Yes, we're actually going to review a show, or at least talk about a show on our network about AEW. So obviously,
I haven't eaten a whole lot today, so I'll be able to keep my lunch down.
Okay,
so
that's fantastic. All right. So anyway, we got a bunch of stuff to go with that. So anyway, I guess we'll jump right into it then. Great American Bash came back. Many years absent, I think. So I don't remember actually the last one WWE put on.
It's been a few years. I had it up on Wikipedia. I could have grabbed it again.
Yeah, well,
I think it's been probably maybe 10 years or so, something
okay,
like that.
all right.
I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah,
I might be totally wrong. But...
Yeah, no, that actually sounds about right. Okay, so the very first match was a Fatal 4-Way elimination match. I think that has to be specified because obviously I think a lot of times people see the pin and they're like, wait a minute, why isn't anybody stopping it? Well, it was an elimination style match, which means that you don't really have to stop the pin until it's two people left. So
yeah, that was kind of a change, like a couple days before
was that a change?
The show. It was just a regular 4-way, and then it was a 4-way on elimination. They changed it to.
All right, so it was Candice LeRae versus Dakota Kai, Mia Yim, and Tegan Nox. Overall, it was an interesting way to start the night. Didn't really know what they were going to start the match with. They never really reveal the order of things, but
yeah, just kind of whip it out there, which is all right.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly fine. Tegan Nox won the match. I gotta be honest, the whole time I was watching the match, all I could look at was Tegan Nox's facial expressions. I think it was a little too much. I think it was not even realistic. Tegan Nox, I think, is sadly falling in that category of, you can't tell me that she can't go in the ring, but I don't necessarily know where the personality is. I feel like it's just a super good athlete, can actually get down dirty and wrestle, but I don't know if she's got much of a, actual ability to talk. I don't know.
I think you're about right there. Yeah. The way she was, her facial and everything was kind of like...
Dakota Kai and Candice LeRae did exactly what they should have done. They were both heels. They were both obnoxious, and they both did... I was actually very impressed with the idea that Raquel Gonzalez was not actually out there. So it kind of was like you were able to see Dakota Kai be as talented as she really is. And even though...
Oh, yes, she is.
And even though it was kind of like a snotty version of herself, she was able to really do what I think Dakota Kai is one of the best at, and that's really just kick people, honestly. She was a very, very good kicker of people. But captain of Team Kick, as Mauro Ranallo always says. Okay, so here's a couple takeaways. Number one, it's interesting that Tegan Nox is the next person. I would have thought they would have done something with Dakota Kai, because she had announced that she was coming after the title. I feel like Candice LeRae would have been good because of the whole Johnny Gargano situation that they have going on right now, trying to make NXT the Gargano way. So my takeaway was interesting that Nox won, and my other takeaway, and I hate to be that guy because I actually do love her gimmick and I do love to watch her wrestle. Go back and watch this. I'm being 100% serious for anyone out there. Mia Yim, her run across the ring to go for a suicide dive, it's cringy. It's painful to watch. It's just, it's like, okay, she stutter steps. She's taking a lot of quick feet steps, Whereas she's not going like, okay, if you ever watch a great suicide dive, honestly, through the ropes, Jeff Hardy has a great one. Obviously, Rey Mysterio's done some great ones.
Very well.
There's long strides. They're running. It actually looks like they're getting into it. Whereas I just Mia Yim kind of, she did it and then she got back in the ring and then it's like, it was hard for me not to notice after it happened once and then it happened again and I was just like, oh, the little stutter step just kind of bothers me because it's just like, you're almost showing me that you're afraid to do it. And I don't know. And maybe it's me, but I feel like her gimmick being sort of the HBIC, we can't actually say what HBIC is on network television, but we can say it here, the head bitch in charge.
Yes, we can.
I feel like she doesn't need to fly. She doesn't need to flip, and she doesn't need to do those kinds of things when she's trying to come off as sort of a gangster type role. I mean, I mean, obviously you watched back in the day, as I did a little bit too, Smoky Mountain Wrestling when they brought in the gangsters.
Oh, yes.
And they had New Jack and his partner. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I apologize. But,
me neither, right hand, yeah.
Yeah, but all I know is like, I mean, I don't know. I love Mia Yim. I think she's overcome a lot in her life to get to this point. She's a very wonderful person, and obviously I remember that weird ass gimmick she had in TNA when she was in the dollhouse. That was super
that was just
freaking creepy, but
weird.
At the same time didn't creep me out in a good way. Anyway, I'll talk about the whole style of wrestling here coming up because our next match, which was a very big surprise to me, Timothy Thatcher took on Oney Lorcan in what I can only describe was an old school catch style wrestling match. And we'll talk about the overall fight of the Wednesday Night Wars here coming up, but supposedly this match lost 86,000 viewers.
Wow.
For NXT.
That's
wow. That's what I read.
That's crazy.
Which is really sad to me because it was a good match.
Yeah.
But, okay, so this is where I'm going to go off on a little tangent, even though we're going to review the rest of the pay-per-view. Timothy Thatcher is a big dude who looks like he's built, and Oney Lorcan is another guy who looks like a wrestler. He's known for being a tough smash mouth style guy. And it's just one of those situations where it's like, I feel like this is a match that if you had put this thing on 30 years ago, it would have torn the house down.
Definitely. Definitely would have.
It would have had match of the night caliber. People would have tuned in to see it. But I feel like when you talk about, and we'll go into this a little later on another show, the state of modern wrestling. And this is one of my biggest things about Spot Monkey Wrestling. Everybody wants to turn around and say, oh, Jim Cornette reviews Spot Monkey all the time, and you're just like Jim Cornette, you're stuck in the 80s. I'm sorry that I enjoy wrestling that makes fucking sense. And there's my one for the show. Okay?
Well, he's like, I'm stuck in the 80s too. I mean, I like that stuff, but
I'm not even stuck in the 80s, but it's just
I kind of am.
It's just like, I'm sorry that I watched a match between two guys who weren't trying to flip. They were just trying to beat the crap out of each other. There were chops, there were submission holds. It looked like the guys had some amateur wrestling background. They were hitting each other hard. I mean, it's just, I knew this match wasn't going to be huge on the viewership. I knew that I didn't think it was going to lose 86,000 people.
Yeah, that's a shock.
But I didn't think that people were going to be that into it because NXT and Spot Monkey, they constantly go back and forth with a slightly similar show, although I think NXT has a better format that you can follow. The show flows and makes sense, whereas AEW's so busy trying to get a 20-minute match where whoever the hell's in it, whether you know them or not, they're just trying to throw all the shit they've ever done their entire career.
Well, I think it does help behind who's doing it behind the scenes on NXT. I mean, I think that shows very much.
Well,
that helps a lot.
Yeah, well, but it's just like, here's the deal. The modern wrestling fan is not going to like Timothy Thatcher versus Oney Lorcan. They're not. Okay? No. Let's just say what it is. They're not.
And it showed that they didn't.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like you can't argue with numbers, and we'll talk about that a little later. But it's just, I liked it. Timothy Thatcher won. He was vicious. He was cruel. He got beat the crap out of by Oney Lorcan for the majority of the match.
Yes,
and it was only about 11 and a half minutes, but it was 11 and a half minutes that for the first time, I think in a long time, I could follow it. I could follow every moment. I didn't have to have the camera switch 80 times for me to be able to see what was going on. I didn't need someone setting up for a huge suicide dive. It was two dudes who wanted to chop the crap out of each other and beat each other into submission.
It's just old school. I mean, it's the stuff that I've always enjoyed, you know.
Well, okay. Again, we've talked about what was called the greatest wrestling match of all time. We've talked about what we think was better. Yeah. I'm not saying this was Steamboat versus Flair, but it's probably the closest thing I've seen this century, or at least this decade, because it. And again, this is, we've had 2 shows on this now. Storytelling. It told a story. The match was kind of made on Twitter. It was kind of made randomly. There was no, big build-up any sort of week before kind of situation. But they got in the ring. They told a story of frustration with each other, anger with each other. They wanted to fight. And that's what it was. It was a fight. It wasn't even, yes, it was a catch wrestling match, and, Timothy Thatcher's got this thing going on now where he's, teaching this wrestling school thing, and yada, yada.
I know, that's kind of a weird kind of thing, but, whatever.
But the thing about it is, for me, is just, for the love of God, ladies and gentlemen, 86,000 people tune out of that, and yet you're going to tell me what the hell happened on Fyre Fest was anything better? You're going to tell me that a show that has been so... And honestly, this is probably the most schizophrenic NXT's been in a long time, because it was a match that I don't think a lot of people expect out of NXT. I think it took people out of their element in NXT. A lot of people got confused, and maybe they switched over to AEW. I don't know. But come on, y'all. You're going to tell me that 2 dudes who legitimately show they don't like each other, that they want to beat the crap out of each other, and that they're trying to break each other's limbs. You're telling me that doesn't excite you? That that doesn't make you excited to sit there and watch that?
Oh, I loved it. I watched it. I'm kind of looking at what was going on during that time. I guesstimate what they were probably switching to, but we'll worry about that later.
Yeah.
The match number 3 on
Fire,
but
Okay, so match number 3. Which, okay, look, I get it. Rhea Ripley was built to be this badass chick, not a female. She's a chick.
Yes, she's a chick. Yes.
This is this is the Lita versus Trish syndrome. Lita wasn't a girl.
Yes.
She was a chick.
Yes.
That was legitimately what you were looking at when you saw Lita. So, okay, there hasn't really been much going on with Rhea Ripley recently. She was in a handicap match with Aaliyah and Robert Stone, and if she lost, she had to become part of the Robert Stone brand. Which, not gonna lie, I was kind of rooting against Rhea Ripley, because I wanted to see I wanted to see Robert Stone have 2 clients in Aaliyah, who's about as girlish as I think you can get.
Oh, definitely.
And then have someone, but then try to turn Rhea Ripley into Aaliyah. Make her dress a little more flamboyant, a little bit more girly. I just think that would have been the funniest shit on NXT.
It would have been very interesting.
And you could have run with that for at least a month. But, okay, here's the deal. I think Robert Stone, because he's a former wrestler, he was Robbie E back in TNA, for those of you that don't remember. First of all, and again, Jim Cornette did say this during his review, because I always kind of see where Jim's going with what we're doing and all that kind of. I just like to listen to anyone I can. Eric Bischoff's podcast.
Oh yeah, it's always great to listen.
Sadly, Jim made a very good point. Robert Stone is supposed to look like the goofy manager, right? He was tossed in the dumpster 2 weeks in a row. He hadn't smelled. We got a great Beth Phoenix, Austin Powers reference of
yes, we did.
Who throws a shoe, honestly? But I just sadly, here's where I'm going with what Jim Cornette said. Sadly, he looks better than all the dudes on the AEW roster. Sadly, he looks like a wrestler.
Yeah, he had a good when he had a shirt. He had a good physique. I was wow, he's a manager and he has a physique like that.
Well, but the problem is that we're so used to dudes in Spot Monkey that do not look like wrestlers. I'm sorry, but somebody wants to look at me and say, "Oh, well, Joey Janela is more trained in wrestling than you are." Yeah, but even I don't got a pot belly going out there and trying to wrestle a dude like Lance Archer, who's 6'8" and all of about 280 pounds of muscle. No. But look, I think it was a little bit backwards, and again, Jim Cornette said that. I think that Robert Stone showed that he could wrestle a little too much. I think that maybe Robert Stone should have pulled back on the wrestling, But at the same time, we knew that kind of what was going to happen. We knew that it was supposed to be the comedy section of the show, which I don't think it's a bad thing for Rhea Ripley to do a comedy segment, even though she was built to be this badass. I mean, Charlotte Flair won. She's not really in the title picture right now. Io's got her thing going on with Asuka and Bayley and Sasha. So, I mean, I don't think Rhea looked bad here, in my opinion. I don't. I don't think it was a burial of Rhea Ripley.
Oh, no, I think she did a real good job there. And yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing like you. It's like, are they going to have her lose, and what would it do? I know the double tap out, that was very interesting to show her power, but they could still continue with this story and have it happen too.
Well, but that's the thing. And yes, again, Jim Cornette said this, but don't tell me no one else doesn't think this and that we can't all form our own opinion. Rhea Ripley kind of works like the guys. Her matches,
I believe so.
Her matches come off as she can wrestle. She's not trying to be flamboyant. She's not trying to be sexy. She's just trying to be a bitch who can wrestle.
Plain and simple, yes.
I mean, it works too. I mean, she looks like a star. Aaliyah, sadly, I think, kind of looks like every other girl you can find in the indie wrestling scene, which is again, I'm not stereotyping the women there. I'm not degrading the women of the wrestling scene, but you look at some of the women that wrestle on AEW, and it's like, first of all, you women are not ready for television. I have no idea why the hell they're using you, but whatever. I could go on about that for 7 hours.
We don't have that much time. Well, we do have that much time, but I don't know how many people listen.
Moving on to the first ever NXT strap match, which, whether or not it went well as a strap match, I don't know, but Roddy Strong, God, I love Roddy just right now. I mean, when I used to watch Roderick Strong in Ring of Honor, he was Mr. Ring of Honor. He had, the warm-up jacket. He's just... Roddy's conditioning, his cardio has been well known in wrestling. Roddy can wrestle for an hour and be perfectly fine. I mean, he's that in shape. But, and I think we talked about this on a prior podcast. He had no personality in Ring of Honor. Zero.
Wow.
He just... he didn't jump off the screen. It was your typical... There's a lot of talent there, but the dude just doesn't punch out a good promo. Adam Cole walks in a room and he commands the damn room. I mean, it's like...
he does. He has a presence.
I remember watching him when he was 19, 20 years old in Ring of Honor, and, he shows up and, he cut a promo, and Jim Cornette just looked at him and said, at 19 years old, you know how to do this. But it's like, Adam Cole commands the room. That's why he's the mouthpiece. However, I'll say this much. Ever since the UE showed up with Adam Cole, Roddy has really come out of his shell. I mean, Roddy is flamboyant in the best way. He's expressive. I like what he's doing, and he's definitely showing the fear of the fact that Dexter Lumis locked him in a car for 12 hours. I mean,
I definitely don't blame, and I do agree with it. Yeah, he has done wonderful with this spot, and has showed, when you're watching, you look, he got the shit scared out of him. Yeah. I get locked in a trunk. Yeah, that might scare the shit out of me too. I do agree, but you can feel it. I mean, it's great.
But it's like Roddy was so confident and so arrogant because the UE, that's who they were. That's how they came off all the time. That was kind of their deal for a while. But Roddy has come off scared. He's come off nervous. He's been damn near pissing his pants ever since the Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream match, and it's just been one of those things where, I'm gonna give Roddy a lot of credit. He is showing me that he's got some personality, that he can be his own guy if and when they take him out of the UE or when the UE breaks up. I don't know what's gonna happen there, but it wasn't a bad match. I feel like I don't know how you do a match with Dexter Lumis all the time, because he is sort of this very stoic, doesn't have a lot of emotional type thing. I mean, it was stiff, which is kind of how Dexter Lumis is going to come off. It certainly, I mean, like I said, this was kind of a different show for NXT. Not a lot of flips, not a lot of athleticism. You had 2 of the 5 matches that night. of people just trying to beat the living crap out of each other. I mean, that's really all it was.
Well, a strap match is pretty much that. I mean, a strap match, a bull rope match, it's the basic same thing. You tie each other together. There's a couple of variations where you gotta, one of them,
well, the bull
rope match, you gotta hit the bell on every single,
But
every single corner. This one is like you beat the snot out of them.
And the bull rope, actually, don't forget, has the cowbell. So I mean,
it has an added weapon along with it.
Yeah,
but this one is basically you beat the snot. Basically, you beat the snot out of them. This one, the strap match, you pin. The other one, you bounce them off each 4 corners, which is kind of fun too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, this is going to my old school, match like this. I haven't seen a strap match or a bull rope match in quite a while, so it was nice to see that.
And also, can I point out, I'm really liking the fact that they've got Mauro Ranallo and Beth Phoenix back.
Yes.
And I am really. First of all, Allison's favorite commentator is Mauro Ranallo. She loves him. Mauro brings so much thesaurus and dictionary to a match. I mean, he says words where I'm just like, okay, I don't know what the hell you just said, but you know what? It sounded cool.
Where is he from, anyways?
Mauro Ranallo, I think he's Canadian.
Okay.
But Mauro's done Bellator fights. He's done boxing. Obviously everyone knows he was on SmackDown, which is one of my favorite commentary SmackDown eras of all time, and then obviously had to leave due to personal reasons with anxiety and depression. No, sorry, internet land, who wants JBL to be tarred and feathered in the corner street. It wasn't the bullying on camera that was supposed to happen. Mauro just couldn't. I mean, look, Leroy and I have done the wrestling travel before. It's a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings. And if you have an issue like depression and anxiety, it can spike that. I mean,
definitely.
I mean, it can cause a lot of issues with things. And I think being in a single location like Full Sail University makes more sense for Mauro Ranallo. But I mean, he brings. I mean, every match to him is WrestleMania, and I mean he gives everyone.
I can hear it. Yeah, I can hear it in his voice when he's doing that.
And I mean, again, Beth is. I mean, Beth's not a bad color commentator.
Oh no, she's not. She's good too.
I mean, I feel like she's still learning on the job, because it was one of those things where it's like when they announced she was going to do a permanent, I was like, okay, didn't really know how to feel about that, because again, Beth, when she was the Glamazon, didn't really need a lot of personality. I mean,
she didn't need that much. No.
No. So I mean, like, this is kind of me looking at a woman who had a very stoic, hardcore type gimmick when she was a wrestler, and now she's kind of having to talk wrestling, which she's surprisingly very good at. And I mean, again, for a guy who has no experience in the business in the ring, everyone's like, well, you're using the word surprisingly. Again, I'm going off her character. I'm going off the fact that she never really had to cut a promo when she was the Glamazon. She kind of came out, she powerbombed you for 20 seconds, and boom, it was over. Like, that's just what it was.
Yeah.
Now we get to the main event, which, good luck, anyone from either show. Fyter Fest Night 1, Fyter Fest Night 2, Great American Bash Night 2. Good luck topping this one. Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks, non-title, was phenomenal.
I totally agree with that.
Now,
it was wonderful.
Now, we'll get into the total views of this night a little later in the show. 900,000 people reportedly tuned into this match.
Well, they did a smart thing.
But I mean, so that was the 5th match. That was towards the 8-9 o'clock hour. What was Fyter Fest doing around that time? Oh, we'll get to this later. Fyter Fest was doing.
If it was one of those, that's why everybody tuned back in.
Oh my God.
I know.
I'll talk about that in a second. But here's the deal: Io Shirai is without a doubt one of the best just female wrestlers in the world. She is the genius of the sky, as Mauro calls her. She is the just everything you want out of a Japanese wrestler, but she tells the story like a female wrestler that was trained in America. I mean, she really, really does.
I totally agree. She is.
And
I enjoyed her in the triple threat where she won the title.
Yep.
And this one, her and Sasha. I mean, Sasha can go, and they did a phenomenal job.
We have talked a lot about Sasha and Bayley being annoying, but let's not forget how talented Sasha Banks is in that ring. Let's not forget that Sasha Banks can go. And what I liked about this match was even though Bayley was there, up until the end, which was a great way to end it, by the way.
Yes.
Up until the end, Bayley really wasn't involved in the match, and she really wasn't obnoxious except for the car door, or for the car horn that she did. That was about the extent until the end of Bayley ruining the match. It wasn't a constant thing. I was actually able to watch Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks. I feel like I got the match I wanted.
Oh, definitely. I'm glad that's the way they did it. I mean, it was the right thing to do. If they would have involved Bayley, I'm not sure if it would have been as good.
Well, you have to involve Bayley, but I feel like it was tasteful.
Yes, the way they did it. Yes.
I feel like it didn't take away from the fact that you built up this amazing match. It didn't take away from the fact that when Io Shirai signed, Sasha Banks tweeted out, "Fight me," and Io said, "Someday, I hope." The ending with Asuka spitting the mist and Asuka and Io like reuniting as a tag team was great.
Yeah.
I think that it made sense for what it was. Obviously, with Kairi Sane, and that was one of our other topics. We'll just talk it right now. Kairi Sane has been basically stopped from competing in WWE due to too many concussions. Which the ones that I think we know about that we've been able to watch was obviously recently with Nia Jax. I'm not going to go into Nia Jax hurting anyone. We've already done that. I'm not going to beat down somebody because again, it is a contact sport. But there was also the night TLC Kabuki Warriors versus Charlotte and Becky rolled Kairi under the ring because Becky could see she had a concussion and said, "You're no longer a part of this match," which was
a very smart and very good thing to do.
Smart, amazing move. Kairi was very appreciative of it. Now, okay, for those of you who want to jump on, Nia's going to hurt people and ruin the roster, yada yada. First of all, it's already come out that Kairi Sane was going to leave WWE when her contract was up. She was going to go back to Japan, wrestle for like a year, and then she was going to retire. First of all, Kairi Sane's like already 31. This timeline, she'll be 33 when she gets out.
Yeah, something like that.
Her husband's in Japan. Kairi had a decent run in NXT, nothing to be ashamed of. She had a pretty good Japanese career. And, again, 33, Becky's around that age too. I mean, maybe Kairi wants to move on with her life and do other things. I mean, again...
Don't blame her at all. I mean, it'd be a good choice to do.
And again, getting back to basic, anatomy and stuff, look, men are fertile well into their 60s and 70s.
Almost up to the day they die.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, for women, there is a window. That's just biology. That's just how God intended it to be. So when you dedicate your life to something like this, if a family is in your view, you gotta pull back at some point. You gotta figure out what you're gonna do. And, again, I'm not saying I know anything about what Kairi Sane wants to do, but it's being reported that she was already gonna do this. So she'll work for WWE as an ambassador to Japan for a little while, maybe get some more girls to come over, because I feel like, again, this is why I said Asuka shouldn't go back to Japan, because there's not much in Japan for female wrestling. Yeah, there's Stardom and everything, and nothing against Stardom and the wonderful performances that they do, but I mean, Japanese wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's the guys. It's a very male-dominated world over there. There's not much of a women's evolution happening, and Asuka has so much charisma, even though we can't understand a damn word she's saying.
It doesn't matter. Still love it.
Oh my god! But I mean, for me, thank you, Kairi Sane, for everything you did for us over here. You were actually very entertaining in the Kabuki Warriors. I felt like it was a lot of fun to watch you go. I never really saw you as annoying. I always knew that you could wrestle. You were fantastic to watch.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed her.
And
her elbow off the rope. It was very good. Yeah,
it was great. So, but I mean, back to the match here. Io Shirai winning was great. I think it solidified Io without hurting Sasha Because remember, Sasha and Bailey right now are so obnoxious. I don't think losses hurt them because they're so obnoxious. People
No, it doesn't hurt them at all.
But I mean, it's just for me. It was good. It was well timed. Yeah, okay. I know I talked about how I could follow Timothy Thatcher versus Oney Lorcan because it wasn't a lot of flips, but Io and Sasha had a wrestling contest, and Io did fly through the sky, but she did it in a way that made sense. They
definitely
sold. They did things that a freaking typical wrestling match is supposed to do. Yeah. And again, people want to go at me about how it's like, hey, you hate modern wrestling. No, I don't. Because I go to more indie shows than probably most people that listen to this show.
Probably,
okay?
Yeah.
And, had it not been for whatever got us into quarantine for 2020, well, okay, I'll just say it. If it hadn't been for 2020, just being 2020, we would have gone to like 4 shows in a 3-month period. Like, I mean...
I'll say, and I'll drop mine, it's just been a clusterfuck this year. That's been simple.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's just, my whole thing about it is that I like a match that I can follow. I like a match that has ebb and flows so that I can take a second to process what happened. You know how they say like the mind is like mind is quicker than the eye, or the eye is quicker than the mind, or whatever the saying is. But it's one of those scenarios where it's like your brain can still only process so much in a short period of time. And I feel like this match, it was just good. Again,
it did,
2 matches that had no real backstory, which was Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks and Timothy Thatcher versus Oney Lorcan. Maybe there was more backstory, like on social media, Twitter, past days in the business, but like there was not a lot of build to these 2 matches.
No, and
but they were probably my 2 favorite matches of the whole card.
Oh yeah, they were wonderful, and with this, I mean it raised Io's star a little. She's in NXT, but it raised her up a little bit, so it's like, that's wonderful for her, yeah.
This one match, and correct me if I'm wrong, this one match did more to build a star in Io Shirai than any women's match in AEW since they freaking debuted.
Oh, I totally agree.
That is my problem with Spot Monkey, and we'll get into that when we get to Fyre Fest, is just, who have they really built? Okay, so we'll talk about that in the ratings. I'm going to say that. Yeah. Night 2, which is going to happen this Wednesday, you have Adam Cole versus Keith Lee for the winner takes all match.
Baby, yes.
We'll figure out what happens there. Mia Yim and Candice LeRae, even though they were in the Fatal 4-Way Night 1, they had a backstage situation, and they're going to be in a street fight. The ladies are going to get down and dirty, And not in the days when they had a bra and panties match or a mud fight. They're gonna get down and dirty and throw some weapons in the damn middle of the ring.
I'm a little I did like those back then, a little down and dirty is for girls. Hey, I know street fights.
It was the times.
I know.
And then of course you also have the big 6-man tag with Breezango and Drake Maverick versus El Legado del Fantasma, which is Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza. I like that it hasn't been Drake Maverick just getting a title shot right away. I like that you're sort of building up the fact that he's in great shape, don't get me wrong.
Oh,
But he's still a pit bull. I mean, he's still the smallest dog in the fight. And, even though Santos Escobar sort of took off the mask and threw away 20-some years of lucha libre that he had done, obviously you have to offer somebody a lot of money to come to America.
Damn right.
Take off the mask he had on for all those years. But I feel like another guy that they're building into a star. I mean, he looks big compared to Drake Maverick. He looks tough.
Definitely, yeah, he is.
He's got lackeys that do enough damage to make him look better. So, I mean, it's one of those scenarios where I am perfectly okay with where they're building Drake Maverick, in my opinion, finally getting the Cruiserweight Championship. We'll see what happens there, but...
I can't wait to see
it doesn't suck.
what Breezango comes out. I mean, their last title match, last match they had, they were impersonating their competitors. I wonder. Let's see what they do with this
one.
They're
super talented that I think just got lost on it. See again,
and they're great. Yeah, I just love it.
Okay, here's the thing. My biggest problem with the main roster in the last 7 years was y'all had way too much talent. You only had 5 hours of TV a week, and you could have put 40 different people on in those 5 hours, and I would have been entertained because there was that much talent.
Oh, definitely.
And I think that Breezango just got caught up in where do we put you? Where, where do you fit? And, and first of all, for everyone out there who's thinking to themselves, well, WWE shouldn't have so many people. Every company does this.
Oh yeah.
For God's sake, Spot Monkey's got 86 wrestlers on their damn roster. Can you name more than 20? Can you? No.
I can name like 5, I think, right
That's my point. It's just like y'all are trying to tell me that every company's got at least 12 people on the roster that they ain't doing nothing with, but they're there so that they have someone as a backup plan, and they're there so that somebody else doesn't have them. Every business does this.
Yeah, it's definitely the way to do it.
Every
Yeah.
sport does this. Sports is an arms race. Okay, right now in football, football has changed to a passing league. You need a good running back, don't get me wrong. You still have to be able to run the football, but you need 4 capable wide receivers. This isn't the day where Randy Moss and Chris Carter and then whoever the hell else was on the whoever the hell else was there can matter. You can't have one dynamic talent like Randy Moss and then one consistent guy like Chris Carter and then fill in the blanks somewhere else. You have to have 4 guys that can take the top off or 4 guys that can catch football.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
In baseball, it's all about the long ball now. There's no more hit and run. There's no more stealing bases. Everything's about getting the ball over the fence. And nowadays, you got to have at least 6 to 7 guys who can hit the long ball. If you can't hit a home run, you're not going to make it very far in Major League Baseball anymore.
No, definitely not. Yeah, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the championship match. But
and that's only 3 matches, so I assume they're probably going to announce a couple more.
Yeah, they might throw another one in before like Monday night. They might announce another one.
But anyway, okay. So we covered that. So anyway, going back to the title match, who you got, Cole or Lee?
Oh, and I did not. Those darn people put those spoilers out. I hate that.
Well, for anyone that doesn't know, at the time we're recording the show, I have not seen the spoiler, but I found out what happened.
I haven't found out what happened.
One of the members of Indoshir put it on his Twitter account.
Oh, really?
Which I can guarantee you means we ain't going to see Indoshir on television for a while.
Oh, no, probably not.
Okay, going back to my modern wrestling rant, before we go on to the match, I apologize for that.
Okay, it's all right.
This is what bothers me about Twitter. It's so instantaneous. The whole world sees it. When the Dudley Boys showed back up night after WrestleMania in Brooklyn, there was Twitter silence. Nobody knew it was going to happen. In fact, I don't think Michael Cole and JBL knew until their pyro hit. So it was a moment. So many times these days. Now, yes, Twitter is up there with Facebook and the internet as one of the greatest inventions of all time. I mean, when you're talking socio-economical or just how the world works, how we get our news, Twitter's a great invention. But it also takes away the surprise.
Oh,
God,
yes.
Like a wrestler, male or female, will just be hanging out in the performance center, and all of a sudden they tweet quickly or they take a picture of this recruit, and boom, it's like, oh, WWE confirmed has this person hanging out. Like, I mean, I remember when Edge was getting. I mean, Edge talked about it in the 24 documentary. He was in Pittsburgh to talk to the same doctor who originally said you'll never wrestle again, and he had to go on Twitter and literally say, no, I'm not here to get cleared to wrestle. So he lied to everyone, obviously, but it helped us all feel that moment at the Royal Rumble that just
was even better.
I mean, I was in a room with 3 people: my buddy Tony, Willie, and my girlfriend. None of them are like Allison's getting into wrestling now, as we've chronicled on the show. Willie and Tony, they kind of watch it because they're just over hanging out on Sunday nights, like we always do. They didn't understand why I was crying. They didn't get what I had watched 9 years ago. A guy who told his mom as a kid, I'm going to be a pro wrestler, and she said, go do it. Go do that. They didn't watch someone that they grew up watching have everything taken from him. And it wasn't taken because he screwed up. It was taken because he got hurt.
Yeah.
Edge has never been a drug and alcohol issue guy. It wasn't taken away because WWE was done with Edge. It was taken away because he couldn't wrestle anymore. And so to get that moment back, I hate Twitter, man. I really do.
For those moments, I do definitely too. Yes.
I mean, people are like, "Oh, WWE. When you tell everyone to go Twitter silent, you're bad on free speech." First of all, free speech wasn't invented to involve social media because social media was not a freaking idea when the Constitution of the United States was written. And the fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, a company. And okay, I'm not gonna get political here, but this is what bothers me. Kids, when I was in high school, were like, "Well, I have free speech. I can say whatever I want in high school." Yeah, go ahead and do that and watch what happens. Watch you be at home on your couch while your parents are dealing with a school counselor. That is to protect you from the government. It doesn't protect you from privacy. Like, okay, Leroy and I both work in Duluth, Minnesota. It's legal to panhandle in Minnesota. And we get people that panhandle outside of our store all the time. But
that's not legal.
But we're allowed to tell them to leave. And when they try to throw the freaking city ledger at us and be like, "Oh, I can do this. The city says I can't." Yeah, you can do it on the sky. Yeah, you can do it on the sidewalk, bro, but you can't do it on our freaking lawn. It's called private property. The Constitution does not necessarily work in a private setting. So anyone that's out there saying Vince is trying to silence their voice, Vince is just trying to make sure that everything he's paying for doesn't get ruined before it happens.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody's going to see that movie. Okay, Avengers Endgame, that was the biggest thing in it. Nobody wanted a spoiler. And then people did that.
I feel like Deadpool 1 and Endgame was the most internet silence thing we all just agreed to in our entire lives. Just like nobody wanted to be... Because like, okay, really crazy story here, a little bit off topic, but the same thing. When the 7th Harry Potter book came out, a friend of mine went to a midnight release at like Barnes & Noble. And I don't know why, but some random person opened the freaking book to the final page and read it out loud.
Oh my God.
Everyone was getting this book for the first time, and this person's just like, I don't understand what sick thrills you get out of being a spoiler. I don't get it. Everyone's like, "Oh, wrestling just stinks now," because it stinks because you idiots listen to social media all the time, and you spend your days looking for spoilers, and it's like, well, why watch? I know what's going to happen. Because you let yourself do it. Leroy opened the damn segment by saying, "I have not read it," and neither have I.
I don't want to know. No. I want to wait till Wednesday.
Now I'm one of those
when
people,
I watch the show.
Now I'm one of those people where like a lot of times spoilers will make me want to watch more, but not in wrestling. Movies will help me. But I mean, Leroy, you remember the Miracle on Ice in 1980? That was on tape delay. You were watching it on TV, but it had already happened a few hours beforehand. So,
the Miracle? No, that wasn't on tape delay.
The Miracle on Ice?
No, that was not.
My dad said it was on tape delay.
He did. Well, yeah. I didn't think it was.
Yeah.
But 1980.
I don't think you had a lot of live stuff going on.
No, it wasn't. 1980. But that, I mean, I didn't know anything about it until I saw it. But watching it, even to this day, watching that, it's an awesome. It gets your emotions.
It's the greatest sports moment of all time because
it is one of the greatest moments in U.S. history.
Well, just like that, anything in general. Because here's the deal: say whatever you want. I don't care if you're not a hockey fan out there. That Soviet team was the greatest sports team ever assembled. Ever.
That was
from 1960 when they lost the gold medal to the U.S. to 1980 when they lost again. That team didn't lose. They were gold medalists in 64, 68, 72, 76. And they didn't lose a match. They didn't lose a hockey game in between.
No, they didn't. Yeah, they killed everybody. Oh,
and by the way, they beat the NHL All-Stars at that point. It was like 12 to freaking 1 or something. They wiped the floor with every team that they went up against. And to beat them with a bunch of college kids who had just gotten together a couple months prior to the games, tell me that's not the greatest upset ever. And I know Skip Bayless one time said when he was back with ESPN, I don't see it as that much of an upset. There were a lot of good Division I prospects. Yeah, prospects beating the greatest hockey team that ever lived is still an upset. I don't give a damn what you want to say.
It totally is, and maybe helped, or good Minnesota boy Herb Brooks was in there. I mean, as the coach. There was a lot of Minnesota boys in there, but the coach itself, I mean, that made it great.
But anyway, it goes back to my point where it's like, our interview is now on YouTube, by the way, with D'Lo Brown.
Yes.
I recommend everyone go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like us, hit that bell, all that stuff, get notifications. Watch the interview. Because he basically said, if you don't like what you're watching, no one's tying you to a chair and forcing you to watch it. Change the channel. Get up and leave the room. But if you're someone who doesn't like spoilers, don't read the spoiler.
Because usually it says.
Usually it'll say
spoiler
alerts. My God. But anyway, you were saying, as we, I literally opened the topic by saying, hey, we're going to talk about the championship match, and then we got off on a rant. But Who do you got? Who do you got?
Who do I got? I would love to see Keith Lee win. I mean, maybe it's a little too early for him to win, but I'm pulling for him. Adam Cole's great, but
there's the issue with his contract. There's the issue with his the main run. Because here's the thing. Adam Cole, I think he loves being a member of NXT, and I think that he's good for NXT. But Adam Cole, to me, he'll work anywhere. Put him on Raw. Put him on SmackDown. He's just good. I don't see him as a lifer like Tommaso Ciampa and probably Johnny Gargano.
No, I don't see him at all. No.
I don't see him as black and gold for life. I see him as a guy who conquered NXT. Now put him on the big show and realize that. And by the way, I don't see Adam Cole. Maybe the rest of the UE getting a little bit buried on the main roster. But I think Adam Cole. He's too good a talker. His matches make too much sense. He's a great worker in the ring. I feel like Adam Cole will survive on the main roster. I don't think Adam Cole
I think he
is going to get lost in the shuffle. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like the determination of this match is going to go a long way to, if Keith Lee wins, well, the very first thing you're going to see on Twitter is Adam Cole gone. Is he going to AEW?
That will be the next thing, yep.
Is he going to the main roster? Has WWE made a contract offer? What is Adam Cole's situation? Because obviously his girlfriend, Britt Baker, is in AEW. He's still good friends with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and, all that other stuff. And, Cole has to get back at Kenny for killing him on being the Elite YouTube show. But, I don't know. I just, for me, I don't really care who wins because I feel like either way it's going to be a great story and a great match. But
definitely will be.
My problem is that if Adam Cole loses, does that mean to see Adam Cole, baby, I have to go to Spot Monkey Wrestling and watch that every Wednesday night when he's been
hope not.
When he's been such a cornerstone of NXT for so long? And again, as people have to realize, look, he ain't going to give up power until probably he's on his deathbed, but Vince McMahon ain't going to live forever. I mean, Cole's still only about 27, 28 years old. So, I mean, let's say Vince goes another 10 years. At 37, you might still have Adam Cole in a very good physical condition to give Triple H the opportunity to use him on the big show. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. It's going to be very bittersweet if Adam Cole wins or loses, I apologize, because then I have to go back to the drawing board and think to myself, am I really, just because of friendship, going to have to watch Adam Cole versus Marco freaking Stunt? Mr. 5'2", 120 pounds, soaking wet. Alexa Bliss can bench press this motherfucker, for crying out loud. That's 2. I don't care. I hate Marco Stunt.
Oh, yes.
But it's just... By the way, there's probably going to be a lot of those when I do my Season 1 review. But anyway. But, no, it's just... Spot Monkey can't be serious. They can't.
No.
They can't do a 2-hour show of serious, anger-filled, fighting wrestling. It has to be silly. It has to have jokes. Everybody has to do every move they've ever come up with in their entire 15 years, if not 5 minutes of wrestling. And it's just, Adam Cole is great, and I feel like he's going to be a star and make a lot of money anywhere he goes, but really? You're friends with these guys, so you're going to be a part of their show that they just can't get right? They can't book a serious show, and everyone's like, well, wrestling doesn't have to be serious. I'm like, at some point, I don't want to see guys who are going to be fighting each other be laughy-go-lucky stupid for 2 hours straight every single week. I don't want to see that. I'm sorry if I don't want to see a freaking child's program for 2 hours every freaking Wednesday. Like, I mean, for crying out loud, I'm just sick and tired of the fact that every time... And here's the deal. For all you people out there, when I do my review, I'm going to actually know what I'm talking about. I have watched a lot of AEW television.
Yes,
and I'm not happy about any of it.
And we are be waiting for your comments,
God,
your rips on us.
I cannot believe that I have sat through as many hours of this crap. By the way, did I tell you that I showed Allison a YouTube clip of the Dark Order's first appearance on AEW?
Yes, we discussed this last week.
She booked a better debut for the Dark Order in 10 minutes on a whiteboard than the freaking Young Bucks did in like whatever amount of time of television they were given. I'm like, you already make me feel more better about the Dark Order than the friggin' idiots that booked this crap did. But anyway, so now that we've gotten through our predictions for Great American Bash, we've done Cole and Lee. Leroy put something on here. Leroy, do you want to explain this topic here? And the topic is too many pay-per-views. You want to explain that?
Well, I just threw it up there. I've heard it before, and I'm used to when I was watching wrestling.
It's like one a month right now, isn't it? It's
like it just about.
One every
seems
6
like,
weeks, I feel like.
It feels like it. But when I went, I mean, I had Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series.
And then
that's what I had.
And then they threw like a random one in there once in a while.
Every once in a while.
But when I got big into wrestling, it was the Ruthless Aggression era. So it was brand split, and everyone had their own pay-per-views. SmackDown had No Mercy. SmackDown got Judgment Day. That was their post-WrestleMania one. Raw got Backlash, which was their post-WrestleMania. They had Vengeance, Bad Blood. I forget what else SmackDown had for like their third and only pay-per-view. But it was just one of those things where it was like, I feel like when you didn't have everyone at the same pay-per-view, I feel like you could get away with having 6 to 8 pay-per-views, but it's the same people every week, every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks. You've got Battleground, you've got Great Balls of Fire, which I still look at myself and I'm like, okay, that one got past creative, but
yeah, a little somebody was in on Jerry Lee Lewis there for a minute.
Anyway, and now you've got the Big Four: WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam. Extreme Rules, I guess, is now the Big Five. I guess that's now.
It might be, yeah. I think so.
We'll probably talk about the current Extreme Rule horror show probably on the next episode.
That's in 2 weeks. So yeah, we'll do next week's
show. I don't know. I get that you want to get people to buy the network. I get that you want to build these big matches, but I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna let you say what you want. But this is what I'm gonna end my point with. I miss title matches on TV to build to a pay-per-view. I do. I just... The WWE title doesn't have to change hands on Raw or SmackDown, but having a match where... And again, remember, it's wrestling. You've told everyone in the world the title's on the line. If the champion gets hurt in the middle of the ring on live television, all of a sudden it's like, well, okay, we're live. Pin me. You've got a new champion. The match is live. So, I mean, I guess I miss that aspect of it. I mean, I feel like the most predictable thing in wrestling is not who's going to be champ. It's the champ's not going to lose the title until such and such date.
Yeah, I mean, for me, with so many pay-per-views, I kind of think and wish they would, like, maybe cut 2 or 3. I mean, kind of stretch some of them out, maybe.
Do you wish that they had the same pay-per-views? Do you want to go back to where No Mercy and Bad Blood happened around the same time?
It wouldn't be bad for a few of them.
Do you want to go back to Judgment Day and Backlash being the post WrestleMania shows.
If they can take if
No Way
each
Out,
roster can do that,
No Way Out
something like
was,
that. I think so.
No Way Out was SmackDown's third because that was their going into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view.
If they can do it with enough people on there, I definitely should go for it.
Okay.
But if they can't, cut down one or two. I mean, just start one or two, stretch things out a little bit, because
it's so weird that the very next Raw after SummerSlam, we're already talking about the next pay-per-view. We can't even get... I feel like the only post-pay-per-view night that is still, holy crap, we have to get past what just happened, is the night after WrestleMania. But that Raw has now become its own show.
Its own thing. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it in and of itself could be a friggin' pay-per-view. It's
yes, definitely.
It's truly unbelievable. Anything else on doing pay-per-views? I mean, just like
that's so about how I feel. I mean, I love the pay-per-views, but being so many of them, it kind of, for me, it hurts a little bit. But I always still enjoy the big ones because they always they show up and they perform well. So,
in your opinion, do you think it's a product of what we were talking about earlier with everybody wants a payoff so quick? We want instant gratification, that instead of trying to keep people hooked for 8 weeks, 2 months, 8 different television shows. Let's boil this down. If it's a title match, they're going to give you what? A 10-minute match, a 10-minute segment. You're both going to cut a promo for 10 minutes. Do you think it's just an issue with modern wrestling that like we're sitting here and they build so quickly to move on to the next feud? Because honestly, people are like, oh, they don't build feuds anymore, and I'm very disappointed in that, and that's why with the current format, if they go 2-3 pay-per-views, I ain't gonna bitch and moan about it. But the fact is that you're going 2-3 pay-per-views with a feud, and pay-per-view is meant to be a big send-off to a feud. It's supposed to be the end of a feud. Unless it's, of course, a situation where you're like Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and it's like that's just going to go for years no matter what.
Yes.
but I mean, in your opinion, do you think that plays a factor in it?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I'm used to that. I mean, the big back in the '80s, you went boom, 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 boom. Yeah, everything accumulated at one of the pay-per-views, at the WrestleMania or at SummerSlam. I mean, they kept going, but I mean, maybe everybody wants instant gratification. And that's what they're giving a lot of people that. But some of those old guys, I don't want. I want a little bit more to chew on.
And again, I'm only 28, but again, I can't control how my brain works, clearly.
I know, yes. It's a little touchy sometimes.
Well, I'm staring at you for 2.5 hours, so you know what? My brain's got to think of other things. Anyway, but no, it's just, I guess as my father has always called me, I'm an old soul. I like things from yesteryear. I get more entertained by, I mean, like, okay, you watch a movie trailer for a modern movie, and they've got the bass drop, the drum beat, the crazy sadistic music, and the trailer's better than the movie.
It is sometimes,
because everything's about action. Everything's about explosives and big fight scenes. I enjoy storytelling. I'm sorry, I do. I'll watch them. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but like, I'll watch the movie Clue over some of the Avengers movies any day of the week because I'm at least watching a story be told. And some great actors, by the way.
Oh, definitely, yeah. There's a lot of movies I watch over and over again. I have my kids watch them because they're great. I mean,
you don't seem like a guy that would show your young kids Saving Private Ryan. That's probably going to be that's probably going to be a few years later. Down the line.
Oh yeah, no, it's like Never Ending Story, The Princess Bride. And everybody picks him. He's like, "You watch The Princess Bride? Yeah, it's a damn good movie.
Yeah.
Hush up.
Yeah,
Andre's in it. That's it.
Yeah, hell yeah. But I mean, it's just I feel like everyone wants to rip on WWE for too many pay-per-views. But at the same time, you're the same damn fans who are like, wait, Bray Wyatt didn't win the championship yet? And I'm like, okay, this has been 3 weeks of television, and you people are already wanting Bray Wyatt to take the title off Braun Strowman. You already want Braun Strowman to move on, even though there is a, 4 or 5 year story to tell here?
God, yeah. I mean,
there's a long-ass story to tell here. And we talked about it earlier, and we talked about it, I think, last week, that you've got Matt Hardy, who we'll talk about a little later because he was involved in Fyre Fest. Yeah. You've got Matt Hardy being the faces of Hardy, but I go back to the Stadium Stampede, the Stadium Shit Show, as I like to refer to it.
Yeah.
You're dunking him in the water, and he's going inside of an ice bin, and he's popping out as a different version of Hardy. You're doing that for the laughs. You're doing that for the lulls. You're not doing that for the storytelling. But when Bray goes from Mr. Rogers, who he currently is, to now going back to being the Eater of Worlds, it's happening because it makes sense. It's telling a story, you stupid, freaking short attention span morons.
And it's a great old school story going.
I know.
I love it. Oh, it's so nice.
But the thing about it is that I'm sorry, I feel like as an old school style of wrestling lover, I feel like I would be robbed if Braun didn't face the Eater of Worlds Bray Wyatt version. I feel like I'd be robbed because I'm going to be sitting here saying, oh, it's over after he beat Mr. Rogers and now I get the Fiend? Hello? The whole thing started in the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing started with the sheep mask.
Oh, yeah.
So why the heck are we sitting here saying, oh, well, wait, let's combine, Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds, with Mr. Rogers? Hello, the second episode of Firefly Funhouse, he took a chainsaw to that version of Bray Wyatt because he's trying not to be that version of Bray Wyatt. But Bray Wyatt said it, and I quote, "You have something of mine, and I would like it back." So, Bray Wyatt is obviously a little more involved and invested in this belt than, say, Dolph Ziggler with the WWE title, which is, oh, you guys were tag team partners. Drew needs an opponent.
You owe me.
Dolph is yeah, exactly. Braun doesn't owe Bray anything. Bray thinks that he does. It's kind of the same story if you really want to boil down to it. But it makes sense that you would have Mr. Rogers lose to the monster, and now you have the creator of the monster, basically Dr. Frankenstein. Well, yeah, Dr. Frankenstein.
Yes.
Taking on Frankenstein's monster. That's where we're at. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, yeah. I mean, that story has a lot of, as they say, that story has a good lot of meat on the bone.
And for those of you who are like, Leroy always agrees with you, Leroy and I disagree a lot. It's just, when it comes to wrestling, we tend to look for the same things.
Well,
we tend to feel the same way about wrestling. And maybe the show would be better if I was a modern wrestling fan and you were an 80s guy. If you were Cornette and I was Kenny Omega, but I'm not about to like Kenny Omega any day of the day of the week.
I wouldn't want you like that, no.
So guess what, folks? This is what you get. But, you watched Ric Flair cut a 10-minute promo and you felt like you wanted that match. But here's the deal. You wanted Ric Flair to cut 8 more promos before the match. You wanted that.
Yeah.
You wanted to watch him talk.
I mean, seeing him, I don't remember how many years ago, but Sports Garden in Duluth with my oldest son.
Yeah.
Going there, and all of a sudden Ric Flair's going to be there. Cost a little too much, so I didn't want to spend to go get his autograph, which is fine. Sitting in the front row, and he comes out.
My apologies. Ric Flair's at that point in his career where, like, you charge what you want, dude. Allison paid $300 for tickets to Elton John for his farewell tour. You're Elton John. You're one of the greatest singers of all time. You can charge whatever the hell you want. Oh, by the way, the stadium was freaking packed to the damn rafters. So obviously people didn't care there was $300 a ticket.
Yeah, it's like me. I think I was in my 30s. My son, I think he was, still in high school or whatever.
Was he?
I think so at that time. I can't remember exactly the year.
Yeah.
But both of us, he got in the ring. Both of us were like children. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my God, that's Ric Flair.
Yeah.
I said that to him, and he said, oh my God, Dad, that's Ric Flair. And we started bowing. We're not worthy. I mean, just seeing him like that. I mean, he didn't cut a huge promo, not his regular one, but it was just awesome seeing him there. His presence and everything about it makes you go, oh my God.
But again, I don't care if people are sick and tired of me saying it, but for the love of God, if you want to watch AEW, watch AEW. I don't care, but don't freaking tell me that I don't get the psychology of every single night I have to have a quote-unquote instant classic, even though I saw the same damn thing a week ago. And I want to be very clear here. And I'll tell the story again on the review because we're going to have more people here for the review.
I hope so.
I went to a Ring of Honor show. There are pictures on my Facebook of me and the Young Bucks, and I paid $30 for the Young Bucks because at that point in their career, that was when they were at their peak. That's when they were working in New Japan, and in Ring of Honor. That's when they were the self-made biggest tag team in the world, although they're the shortest dudes in the friggin' tag team division. But anyway, but here's the deal.
Yeah.
I watched them in a 6-man tag team match as the Bullet Club, but now they've moved on to being the Elite with Kenny Omega. They've moved on to be the Young Bucks, the world's greatest tag team.
Self-promoted.
But you know what? I've seen them in the Bullet Club. I've seen them in Japan. I've seen them live in, I think it was, I don't remember. I have the DVD at home. I'll probably check it out. But Hopkins. It was Hopkins, Minnesota.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
So the community center down there was Ring of Honor. I also have pictures with Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, so that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah,
that was where
nice.
That was where I shot the video for Marcus with Jay Lethal.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I remember seeing that one.
Yeah, no, and I remember Gene was like, "Hey, I've never really gotten the wrestlers to give a shout out. I think I only got it because when I bought a ticket to go see Jay Lethal was sitting at his table, and first of all, the Young Bucks line was already about the length of the gym. Everyone wanted to see the Young Bucks. Because, again, they were the hot ticket at that point.
Yep,
they were the main event. They were selling the tickets. But I saw Jay Lethal, and I'm like... Because see, I'm always that guy. If there's multiple people that I want an autograph for, if the line's shorter on one, I'm going to go get in line for the line that's shorter.
Definitely, that's the right way to do it, yeah.
But, yeah, no, I mean, Jay was just sitting there by himself. He was kind of looking around, waiting for someone to come. I think it was the first autograph he gave out on that day. And then I got him to post the video because there was no one in line yet. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I saw the Young Bucks live that night. Then I went back and I saw the DVD that they printed for us because obviously I signed up to get that DVD because Ring of Honor survives off of DVD sales. I mean, that's what Ring of Honor does.
Yeah.
And I rewatched the match from a different angle, and I was like, cool, because I was there. I was enjoying myself. And I was a huge Young Bucks fan. And then I went back and watched them when they got huge in New Japan. Then I watched them in Ring of Honor 6 months later. Then I watched them in AEW, and I watched them on the pay-per-views. It's the same freaking match. Super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick. Nobody falls down from the super kick, but super kick. And then the match goes into a bunch of BS where they have to flip and do everything they can. You can tell they're not professionally trained because they're not even pretending to be knocked out when someone jumps off the top rope. They're literally standing there. And I mean, all I'm missing is them literally taking their hands and going, "Come here, buddy. Come here, boy.
Yep.
I'm waiting for it." It's like calling a freaking poodle or something. I don't know. But just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Where were we?
Well, let's see. What the hell? Oh, we're just talking about pay-per-views.
Okay, but I mean, it's just, I'm sorry that I like build. I'm sorry that I can go 2 pay-per-views and then the third one is the big aha, woohoo moment. But I can sit through 2 pay-per-views and not be a little bitch and complain and moan and cry about, oh, I didn't get to see what I wanted. We talked about Kofi Mania. Everyone was like, Vince hates Kofi. He doesn't want Kofi to change. He was facing Daniel Bryan, who was in the same goddamn scenario like 4 years earlier.
Oh, yeah.
For
they did a great
Christ's
job.
Sake,
They did a great job with
you
it,
people
yes.
are like, oh, Vince is out of touch. You're not even paying attention to the show you're watching.
No.
Oh, my God. Anyway, we're moving on. Leroy, we got a couple of things. We've done this before. Ladies and gentlemen, this day in wrestling history. Leroy, what do you have for us today?
All right.
Today is July 5th.
Threw that at me here. All right. July 5th. And this is, hey, wrestling been going on for a while.
Yeah.
I saw this one. I had to say it.
Okay.
102 years ago today in Omaha, Nebraska. Not too far, but 9 hours away from here.
Yeah.
Joe Stretcher defeated Charlie Cutler to win the World Heavyweight Championship. It did not say which one.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of neat. 102 years ago.
Yeah.
31 years ago today, WrestleMania 2 aired in its entirety on the cable network Showtime.
Okay.
And it is believed the last time it aired a full pay-per-view on a cable network like that.
Well, I mean, obviously Fox is doing that now with the pandemic.
They're doing that, but
just trying
when
to
they
fill
first
your
did their
spot.
live
Yeah,
showing,
yeah,
they did
yeah,
on
yeah.
Showtime.
Pay-per-views were always kind of saved for everybody else.
Oh, yeah. And then
for those of you out there who may or may not be hearing some weirdness out of my mic, it's super hot where we are right now, so I've got a fan going.
There's a little bit of noise in there, but hey, it's all right.
Whatever.
All right, then.
We're definitely loud enough to drown that out.
23 years ago today in New York, jury would been selection on Vince McMahon's federal steroid trial.
Ooh.
That it lasted for about 2.5 weeks. A lot of people made the stands. Biggest name that made the stand, of course, was Hulk Hogan.
Did Vince... Because Vince always makes his character into I've never lost... I don't think he lost that lawsuit. Did he lose? Or did he just have to pay a settlement?
The Kevin Walcluse, who had a brief stint with the company as Nails, he admitted during that he hated Vince McMahon, and he had a grudge against McMahon for not giving him $8,000 for his match. So, and he was later fired. So, they put him as a center. They put him as painted him as a bitter ex-employee.
Yeah. And
may have played a part in McMahon eventually getting acquitted because he's just whining about it. And it's not a big deal. So he did not. He got acquitted and never got convicted of that at all.
Right. Well, but again, look, was there a steroid thing going on? Of course there was. But baseball had the same problem. Every sport's got the problem. Here's the deal, and I hate to say this, it's wrestling. Every single person, even if they're your friend, they want your spot if you're a top guy.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone's going to try to take a shortcut, whether it's getting good with the boss or whether it's coming back and looking good. I am not here to say that Jinder Mahal took steroids, but I think Jinder Mahal was cut from WWE and realized if I want to ever get back to that point, I need to look like what Vince McMahon is wanting me to look like.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, and Jim Cornette constantly brings this up about the issues in AEW, and going back to what I said about Robert Stone looking better than anyone that's on the AEW roster for the most part. Look, as much as the girls are there to sell us on, holy crap, I want to, have a night with her.
Yep.
To get the ladies to watch, you got to look a certain way. Also, it's a combat sport based on fighting. You have to look like you can get into a fight and beat somebody up.
That is true.
Are you gonna seriously? Is someone gonna look at me and say that Kamala didn't look like he could beat you up based on what he was? He didn't need a six-pack. Kamala was big enough to do it. But when you're a smaller guy, let's say, I don't want to go small like Rey Mysterio, but go small like, let's say, Edge.
Yeah.
You need to look a certain way. Because again, Edge right now is in the best shape of his life.
He is in incredible shape.
But
when
he was in the ring earlier, he and Christian were just the skinny, obnoxious guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it just... You have to look a certain way to be in this business. Whether you're male or... I mean, everyone's like, oh, females are pressured in to get boob jobs, or females are pressured to look a certain way with blonde hair. The guys have just as much, if not more, because wrestling is still a male-dominated sport. We all know that.
It definitely
the girls have been doing great.
Oh, yeah.
You have to look a certain way, and that was part of Hulk Hogan's appeal, was he had the 24-inch pythons. He looked like Hulk Hogan looked like a bodybuilder who could wrestle. Well, he wrestled in Japan. Vince kind of dumbed him down, but again, that was the character.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But again, Brock Lesnar doesn't have to have a six-pack because Brock Lesnar's a farm boy. Brock Lesnar works out on his farm every damn day.
Carries around
logs hay bales and logs.
Shoulder.
Brock Lesnar is a country strong boy. So it's different with Brock because Brock, again, I know I'm saying you have to look a certain way, but going back to what I said about Kamala, if you can do certain things well, your physique means nothing. Now, Brock Lesnar may not, Brock Lesnar can come out with a friggin' pot belly, but then he picks up a 250-pound guy and throws him 10 feet like it's nothing.
Yep.
He made Roman Reigns look like a friggin' chew toy. He made Seth Rollins, who's no small man himself.
No, he's not.
He made Seth Rollins look like he... Honestly, Brock Lesnar throwing around Seth Rollins looked like friggin' Roman Reigns throwing around Becky Lynch. That is the size comparison of the scenario. But, going back to the steroid situation, whether Vince was encouraging it or not, everybody did it. Everybody's been doing it. Everyone's looking for a spot. Can we sit back and just let it go? To this day, people still use it against Vince, and I'm like, first of all, we've been watching Dark Side of the Ring. Some of those don't involve Vince McMahon.
No, they don't at all.
Okay?
It's crazy.
The Brawl for All, yes, I understand Vince could have pulled the plug whenever he wanted, but, I mean, at the end of the day, Vince Russo is the man who takes credit for this bullshit.
Yeah.
Not Vince McMahon, but Vince Russo.
The different Vince.
We'll talk about Dark Side of the Ring later on, but it's like the killing of Bruiser Brody. That wasn't Vince.
That wasn't even WWE.
No, Vince didn't pay. Now, yes, do we all believe Vince paid someone to get Jimmy Snuka off? I think we all believe that at this point, but we're not.
Yeah, points are that way, definitely.
But the thing about it is just when you're running a $1 billion company, you'll do a lot of crazy things to keep the $1 billion status. I mean, it's the way it goes. I'm not going to sit here and rip on the man for life. Anyway, what else you got?
Last thing, a birthday.
Oh, we have a birthday.
Yes, we do. 28 today.
Oh, okay.
Austin Jenkins, best known as Adam Cole, baby.
Well, happy birthday, baby. Happy baby day, or whatever you want to say.
Something like that, yeah.
But it's like, yeah, there we go. Happy birthday to Adam Cole. Still made the worst move in the history of Uno, and
yes.
He'll forever have to live that one down. However, Cesaro made an equally stupid, boneheaded move on the last episode that I watched. But you should really watch that. It's on Austin Creed's YouTube channel, Up, Up, Down,
I'll
Down.
have to check that out.
There's about 13, 14, maybe 15 episodes, and it's Austin Creed, Adam Cole, who goes by Chugs.
Chugs? Oh, boy.
It's Adam Cole, baby, Austin Creed, going as Austin Creed.
Yeah.
And then it's also Prince Pretty, Tyler Breeze.
Okay.
And Mr. O.P. Cesaro. They all play Uno, and they're all morons. And as I mentioned on a past episode, the loser or the winner gets to select the loser of the day, and then the other two get to select which wrestling theme song he has to sing.
Wow. Uno's a simple game, and they have issues with this game?
Well, okay, so they're playing online Uno, right?
Online Uno.
Okay, so there's a bunch of different versions. Have you heard of like that series? I don't know if it was a TV series or video game. It's like got all these white bunnies and they're like killing themselves with like bombs and shit like that and everything. There's a deck like that where you can play a bunny card and a bunny will come out and he'll either put a bomb on the deck that when he explodes, cards fly to other people. Also, they're playing. Also, here's the deal: they're playing real Uno rules. That if you play, okay, so here's the deal. I learned throughout this game that the world has been playing Uno wrong forever. A 7 can make you switch hands with someone.
I know that. I did not know that one.
If you play now, okay, that's a may. You may switch hands with someone on a 7. A 0 forces you and forces everyone to rotate your hand whichever way the game is going. They've played Uno Flip a couple of times. Uno Flip's brand new, and Uno Flip is a mind screwer. It messes you up because it's okay. Normal colors on one side, right?
Yeah.
But if you play the flip card, you literally just flip the cards over 4 brand new colors. You can have a hand of nothing but yellows, flip it over, and you can have 4 different colors just like that. They are hilarious. It's a lot of fun. They've made some dumb, boneheaded moves. They have running gags, running jokes. In Uno, if somebody plays a draw 4 wild and changes the color, you can challenge. And if they had the color that was already down to play, you win the challenge. But they have a running joke now where if you don't challenge, they lose all respect for you. But they lose like 90% of the challenges, so they have to draw 7 or more.
Yeah.
Cesaro, if I ever see him live, I'm going to bring a sign and be like, you drew 50. He had 50 cards in his hand at one point.
Oh my God.
50 cards.
You drew 50 Uno cards.
Yes.
Yeah. He
But
might
no,
appreciate that one then.
But it's like there's a bunch of running jokes. There's a lot of fun stuff. Some of the when they the losers will have to sing, and they've gone everywhere from Billy and Chuck to I'm an Ass Man, Billy Gunn's old theme. The best thing they've done so far,
Oh my God,
in my opinion, was Cesaro lost one week, and Breeze and Austin didn't win. I think Adam Cole won, and they chose the song, and Cesaro had to sing, "He's a man, a real man's man."
Oh, yeah.
And the best part about it is, the next week, they started the episode, Cesaro redid shot for shot William Regal's old video to that song, too. Chopping the wood, driving the truck. It was so good. It was so funny. Up, Up, Down, Down by Austin Creed. We're going to plug that right here. It's a great YouTube show. He has a lot of WWE superstars on. He's got the Usos on. Kofi's been on a couple of times. Becky Lynch has been on there as well. He also has a belt. It's called the Up, Up, Down Championship.
I've heard about that, yes.
And yes, it's due to the pandemic, but Tyler Breeze is now the official longest running Up, Up, Down, Down champion of all time, but that's because no one's really been able to challenge him because it has to be in. But see, what's really cool is a lot of these challenges are taking place backstage.
Yeah.
During shows. And what's really funny is Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins actually go back and forth a lot with the championship. And everyone gets a nickname. Becky Lynch is known as the Soulless Senpai. Because she's a redhead, so she has no soul.
Yes.
And senpai in Japanese is teacher, I believe. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's lighthearted. You get to see. Okay, I'd like to say you get to see Austin be himself, but Austin is himself whether he's out there or not. But so yeah, we're definitely gonna plug that for right now. But that was today in wrestling history, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing it back. It's been gone for a couple of weeks. We're moving on to Blind Resume. But this week, Leroy gets to try to stump me, which he probably will. He's already told me that there was one clue that would give it away, but every single week I think I've given you guys clues that if I said the obvious thing, it was going to give it away.
Yes.
So,
definitely.
I think for Rocky Johnson, I had to dip into the NWA record books and find out all those world titles and championships. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so Leroy, what do you got this week?
All right. Well, this person is born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Male or female?
Male.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Of Jewish descent.
Interesting.
But you know what? His wrestling name, you can never guess it. You
Okay.
would never think of that.
Okay.
He went to the University of Delaware where he earned a degree in criminal justice, and he also enlisted in the United States Marine Corps Reserve. And
interesting.
Yeah. Let's see here. He does possess an IQ of 143.
Interesting. That's pretty good.
Yeah. He also has...
That's a higher combined IQ than anyone booking AEW.
That's true. He has written a comic book with Brian Azzillo, a Spider-Man book. Comic.
Really?
Yeah. All right.
Is this a circulated Spider-Man comic book?
Spider-Man
was it a special edition, or is this like...
web entitled The Last Shoot.
Interesting.
All right. He has been a member on the brand of WCW.
Oh, okay.
WWE.
All right.
And WWF.
Yeah.
ECW and TNA.
So he's been
he has been in all those.
So he's been in the three major television companies.
Yes.
And for those of you that don't think ECW was a major television, ECW's legacy is not going away.
No.
It's just not. I mean, whether or not you liked what Paul Heyman was doing, the garbage wrestling that they called it, it ain't going away. It was so good. But he's been in TNA as well.
Yes.
Any what's his championship pedigree look like?
Well, he's been a AAW All Action Wrestling Heavyweight Champion.
AAW?
Yeah,
Okay.
All Action Wrestling.
Okay, yeah.
Australian Wrestling Federation, he's been a champ one time. ECW, he's been a World Heavyweight twice.
He was a two-time ECW
Two-time
World
ECW
Heavyweight Champion.
Yes. He's been tag team champion 4 times.
In ECW.
In ECW. I'm not going to tell you who, because if I tell you a couple of the guys, you would know it.
Give me one of them.
One guy?
Give me one of his tag team partners. I guarantee. Find the most obscure guy on there, unless he's only been with like 2 different guys.
No, there's 3, and they're none obscure either.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
What's his WCW track record look like?
Let's see here.
Because ECW didn't really pass the ECW World Title around very much. It kind of stayed on a lot of the same guys.
And the WCW might actually help you out a little bit.
He
was a light heavyweight champion one time.
Was he treated well in WCW, or was he treated like a back end sort of no one cared?
No, I thought he was treated pretty good.
All right.
He was the United States heavyweight champion one time. He was
for WCW, not
for WCW.
WCW version.
Yes. He was a tag team champion there. Okay. Not going to give him the. I think it'll give away his.
The WCW tag team champion is going to give it away too.
Yes,
Damn.
I think so. You are knowledgeable like me on some wrestlers, so I would give it away.
Okay.
Here's one that might help.
All right.
He was the. That was in WCW. In WWE, he was the hardcore champion 27 times. That doesn't give you a hint?
No. Really? He was the ECW World Champion how many times?
ECW, 2 times.
Okay, so Stevie... okay, this is my guess, but Stevie Richards only held the hardcore title. I think we actually looked that up on a past show.
Yeah, but that is incorrect. That's not.
No.
That's not your guess. That's not your guess. Okay.
No. That's not my guess.
Okay.
I'm working through the process because I think Stevie was a 21-time hardcore champion.
I think something like that.
27 sounds like the record.
I'm not sure if it is. I'd have to look it up. But
is it? Do you want to keep going, or can I toss you?
Go for it. If you got a guess.
Is it Crash Holly?
No, it's not.
It's not Crash Holly.
No, it's not.
27 times. So the WWE Hardcore Champion 27 times.
Yes.
See. This is my issue with the. Okay, so here's the deal. The Hardcore Championship. I feel like it was around for so long, and the 24/7 I-95 Championship has been around for so little, but R-Truth has been so synonymous with it. I feel like the Hardcore title has really only been synonymous. Because remember, Taker was a one-time Hardcore champion.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That was a lackluster one.
TNA, when he was in TNA.
Okay, yeah.
He was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion once.
He did win the NWA.
He did that, yes. He was King of the Mountain, and he also won the Gauntlet for Gold.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's not Jeff Jarrett.
No.
It's not Jeff Jarrett, because Jeff Jarrett was never...
He never won the hardcore.
No, he was never a hardcore champion. Okay, so he's a light heavyweight.
Mm-hmm. He was also a stand-up comedian, too, which I did not know.
Really?
Yeah, he did that for a little stint.
All right. Okay. I know we've talked about the companies, but just give me one of his tag team partners.
One of it... okay. Because you mentioned him, Stevie Richards.
Was that actually one of his tag team partners?
That's one of his tag team partners.
Well, that rules out Blue Meanie. Because
yes, it does.
That rules out Blue Meanie. By the way, shout out to the Blue World Order, one of the funniest damn things that WCW never could sue about because it was a parody. It was not an exact copy. It's a parody.
Yes. I got him stumped.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the thing about it is that the hardcore title in the 20s, that was only a handful of guys.
I know.
Because Bradshaw used to always introduce himself as the hardcore champion, but I feel like Bradshaw was a longer reigning hardcore champion, whereas a lot of guys, 27 times obviously, the hardcore championship kind of flopped around to a bunch of different guys.
Well,
so treated well in ECW.
He was part of 3 different groups.
Factions, basically?
3 factions.
Okay. What's the least... Okay, to be fair, you can laugh about stumping me. You haven't gotten one on mine yet either.
I know. So I'm proud I can stump you.
Yeah. So, all right. So,
I think the least popular out of the 3 of them.
Okay.
I think the Gathering.
Oh man, That's the least popular?
That's the least popular. Do you know who it is?
No, because I'll be honest, The Gathering is one of those things where it's like...
I was in TNA.
Right, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't know if that helped you, but...
Well, to be fair, I've tried to remove about 4 years of TNA television from my brain because I was like... I used to actually switch the channel when Monday Night Raw was on when they shortly were living their glory days in the Monday Night Wars. Although that lasted all about 3 weeks, and then boom, they're back on Thursday nights. Or maybe it was Tuesday. No, I think they had the Thursday night slot on Spike TV for a while.
I think so. No guess. Okay, I'll give you the second one.
Hardcore champion.
I'll give you the second faction. This is the second faction that he did.
Which company?
The Gathering was there. I'm not entirely sure which one this is part of.
Well, what's the faction?
Called the Deadpool.
So let me get this straight. The Gathering is the least popular in your opinion, but he was in the Deadpool.
That's what it was. But this was in 98 to 99.
Okay. What's the other faction? Because obviously, I'm hearing factions that I don't necessarily remember.
Yeah, you will know this one.
Okay. Who is it? No. What's the faction?
The Flock.
Oh, he was in the Flock. Raven's Flock. Okay. Was Raven a 27-time champion? Is that Raven?
Is that your guess?
Was he the lead? Well, okay. Was he in? Because first of all, Raven was never really in these factions. He led these factions. Is it Raven?
Yes.
It's Raven.
It is.
Okay. I like that. No.
Yeah.
That was good. I forgot. Because see, sadly, I think Raven, another one of those guys that had a lot of backstage problems, had a lot of personal issues, but the mind he had for the business.
Oh, he did. Yeah, his 4-time ECW.
He was also part of Serotonin, wasn't he?
I did not find that. Maybe he was.
He led a faction. His early days in TNA, he led a faction with Frankie Kazarian called Serotonin, I want to say. And
I'd have to look. Yeah, I didn't. I did not find that in here, but yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
I also forgot that Raven was so actually featured in W. I feel like Raven. I hate to say it, but I feel like Paulie was the only guy that ever got Raven.
Yeah.
I feel like
he with ECW, Stevie Richards twice.
Yeah.
Tommy Dreamer.
That's right.
And Mike Awesome. See, if I would have said...
I forgot he tagged with Mike Awesome.
So, and he had one title reign with both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was with Perry Saturn in WCW.
That's right. That was one of the oddest looking pairings I ever saw. Because here's the deal. You got Perry Saturn, who at the time looked like a wrestler. And then you got Raven, who in my opinion never really looked like a wrestler, but he looked like a creep.
Yeah.
I love Raven, by the way. But,
and really, yeah, like I said, he's Jewish descent. I mean... You would have known, and his IQ like that? It's like,
no. Actually, interestingly enough, now that you say Raven, by the way, I'm counting that as a point for myself because I actually, all of your times you never had a guess until I gave you the you didn't like I gave you specific tag team partner clues.
I thought it would give you away their tag team partners.
Well, but the thing about it is, Stevie was like, again, Stevie was a guy who I think. He lasted longer than I think people thought he would, but definitely not ever reaching a lot of hype for Stevie Richards. But no, it's like now that you say Raven, 142 seems low. Because again, Raven is a brilliant individual, really smart guy. Oh, yeah. But again, that probably explains a lot of the drug issues because the smarter someone gets, the more they kind of try to escape from reality, feeling like they're too smart. So I mean.
But
I guess that makes sense.
I had to wait on giving you the Flock because the Flock right there gives it away. If anybody doesn't know that, watch some old WCW.
But to be fair though,
but
to be fair though, you were saying he was in these factions.
Well, he's part of the faction. Oh well,
but yeah, I forgot the Gathering in TNA.
He wasn't there that long.
The thing about it is with Raven is I feel like, and TNA's first of all always got a lot of guys on the back nine of their career, but I feel like Raven was a guy that I feel like was never going to physically be able to wrestle as good as anyone else, but damn if he didn't understand what it meant to be in the business. Damn if he wasn't just a goddamn brilliant mind. I really wish, and going back to what I said, the drugs and the alcohol, it's always the brilliant minds that have these problems and never get to really reach their full potential. Going back to earlier, we talked about Scott Hall and how Jim Cornette had recently mentioned about Scott Hall never being the world champion. Obviously, I think Scott Hall's demons had a lot to do with that. But
definitely did.
But then again, you can also look at every time Scott Hall was featured in a company, whether it was WCW or whether it was WWE, he was always probably the third most popular guy, despite how talented he was.
Yeah.
But Raven makes sense. I forgot that Raven. I knew that Raven was going to be involved in the hardcore scene pretty good because that was his deal. I didn't realize he was that high up.
Yeah, it surprised me. I saw that too.
To be fair, though, I also don't. To this day, I don't really know if there was a writing team or if there was a writer for the hardcore title, or if it was just everybody showed up and had catering. They were like, "You get it." It was like I feel like it was like you go to catering. And Vince McMahon or somebody from writing would walk in like Oprah and say, "You get the hardcore title. You get the hardcore title. You all get the hardcore title."
Sounds about right. I had two I was picking from.
And I was Oprah going through.
Yes.
Anyway.
But I had two choices.
Okay.
I was Raven. I decided.
Yeah.
I also was looking at Vampiro.
Okay, now Vampiro, I guarantee would have stumped me, only because his work with Sting was very good.
Yes.
It was interesting that you went with two guys where a lot of drugs and alcohol kind of ruined what they were able to do. Vampiro, I feel like, had a lot of potential. Another brilliant mind for the business.
Oh, yes.
He was actually involved in the booking of Lucha Underground for a while.
Yeah, he is. If they're, I don't know if they're still going.
No. They were done after, I want to say season 3. Maybe they had a season 4.
I think. Oh yeah, no, they had. I think they had about 5. I found it on some free TV thing on my TV.
Yeah.
So
I do know for a fact though that by the end they were skimming for talent. It was hard to get a lot of the Mexican guys to constantly work in the U.S. and then also I don't remember if they lost their AAA deal or what it was, but anyway.
Well, I'll have more fun if I get a chance to do this again.
Vampiro.
I'll do probably Vampiro another time when there's more people than just us, because you probably would get it before anybody else. Maybe.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, so we're gonna now talk about, as much as I don't want to, we're gonna talk about Fyter Fest next. Night 1 of Fyter Fest. So once again, this was your typical So right now, due to the pandemic, Fyter Fest is not on pay-per-view. It's a 2-night event on basic TV, along with the Great American Bash for NXT, due to the pandemic. You've got the Jurassic Express, which was Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, versus Marco Stunt, who's more their mascot than anything else at this point.
Yeah, that's about it.
Dude doesn't even look like a pro wrestler. Dude, I'm not joking. I've seen some teenage kids come to some of the shows that we've been to. They look like they're in better shape than Marco freaking Stunt. As Jim Cornette calls him, Marco Stunted Growth, because my God, you're a grown man. You look like a freaking preteen. It's just.
Oh yeah.
Can I just say I'm sorry, but there's a difference between Chris Jericho saying, "Go, Marco Stunt." People said I was too small when I was a kid or when I was getting in the business. First of all, Chris Jericho's a once-in-a-lifetime GOAT-level talent.
Oh, yes.
And the people who were like, well, Rey Mysterio was a once-in-a-generation lucha god, who, by the way, looked like Marco Stunt when he started wrestling at 15 years old in a small church in Mexico. Not when he was 25 years old, actually on the big stages of frickin' WCW television. Saturday Night TV, by the way.
He might have to take some pills maybe to get bigger. I don't know.
Dude,
human growth hormones or something.
Every time I see Marco Stunt, I'm like, good God.
Put him in the women's division. That might help him. I don't know.
He wouldn't last there.
Oh, he wouldn't. Oh, geez.
He's smaller than half their roster. Like I said, Alexa Bliss can bench press the mofo. But no, you had Jungle Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus versus MJF and Wardlow. Wardlow looks like a big henchman type guy. MJF is the best heel in wrestling. He doesn't want
Yes.
you to like him. He says, go F yourself. Jungle Boy Jack Perry, he gets it.
Yes.
The problem is he's dealing with these idiots who don't know how to teach him, but he gets it. He's a sympathetic babyface. He's still coming into his man body. He's still... And again, for all those people out there who are like, oh, you're talking a lot about their bodies, like I said, it's pro wrestling. It's kind of what they do, ladies and gentlemen. Like, get over yourselves. But the thing is that he gets it. He looks like a star. He looks good. He kind of gets the simple nuances of a simple... Oh, by the way, we talked about the only good match that I liked from the last AEW pay-per-view that had the Stadium Stampede bullshit.
Yeah.
Was MJF versus Jungle Jack Perry, because he got it. It was good versus evil. They had a good wrestling match. It wasn't everyone's favorite match because it wasn't meant to be a flippy bullshit match. It was meant to be a storytelling match. Yeah. I would say that was the Timothy Thatcher, Oney Lorcan of Great American Bash.
Well, hopefully, maybe Jungle Boy, his late father, has kind of rubbed off on him. Maybe that helps him.
Well,
maybe he got that pedigree.
Right? Yeah. No. I mean, rest in peace, Luke Perry. Luke Perry was a highly successful actor. I mean, he knew what he was doing. I mean, it made sense. Hikaru Shida defeated Penelope Ford. Penelope Ford had Kip Sabian. Ladies and gentlemen, you gave me 11 and a half minutes of Hikaru Shida, who is a talented young Japanese talent, but you put her in with Penelope Ford, who goes around that ring. I'm like, Penelope Ford needs 2 years off of TV in the NXT women's division before I need to see her anymore. And it's just, again, I know I talked about Mia Yim, but Mia Yim, the only issue go back and check the tape. Only thing I had an issue with was how she ran out of the ring. She still did a dive and it was good, but my only issue was the running thing. But Penelope Ford, Kip Sabian's a somewhat talented guy, so now we're just letting all the wives and girlfriends come and we'll put you in the women's division for crying out loud, because Kenny Omega's got to build that bullshit up. But Penelope Ford, I'm not saying she can't go, and if I ever see her at a show, I will shake her hand, and if she ever hears this, I will. That was my personal opinion. I'm not saying that there's not talent there, but it's not being bred, it's not being groomed. And I know the word groomed is kind of rough because of the Speak Out movement and the allegations against Jim Cornette, which I still don't think make any goddamn sense. But
no, just like allegations against me, it's not even pointless.
I'm not gonna talk about it. Well, that one might.
Hey.
Might have something about that. But anyway,
we're not talking about work.
Okay, fair.
He was old. He can't see shit.
That's fair. Anyway, so guys, gotta find a way to work that story in one of these days. Anyway, but it's just. Penelope Ford is in a championship match. She should be on the freaking opening match of the card, not the championship title match. What do you have? What is your women's division so shoddy right now? And what? Nyla Rose can't get a rematch? I know we're not doing rematches in wrestling right now, but she's still a better performer than Penelope Ford.
They're just grasping for whatever they can.
Crap. Anyway, then we move on to Cody versus Jack Hager, who's going by his real name. And by the way, he had his real wife bring him to the ring. Jack Hager did. Cody went out with his, pains me to say it, coach Arn Anderson. I'll use the names you want me to, AEW.
I know.
I'll give you that much respect. That was a singles match for the AEW TNT Championship, which, by the way, doesn't look any better than they originally had it. I don't know why they said the title's not finished. Did
they finally finish it?
I guess, but it still doesn't look any better than it did before. I'm sorry. It's not as beautiful as people want to say it still looks like
somebody was in the room of dark going, right, it or something. I don't know.
It's just, again, Jake Hager was supposedly suspended 10 days for beating up the referee and fined, and we all know it's a work, so I don't know why we're even discussing that part of the match. But again, Marcus said it before, and I'm going to talk about that when I do my review. But ladies and gentlemen, who decided that Cody Rhodes? This is where Cody Rhodes needs to be, mid-card title right now.
Yeah,
he's not. Sadly, he is in this company, but he's not. There's a funny meme on the internet about. You left the WWE mid-card to win the mid-card championship in AEW, but
That's true.
I mean, Cody, in my opinion, he has separated himself from the Bucks, from Kenny, from even Jericho at this point. He tries to be serious with his own shit. He's trying to make his stuff look halfway decent. We obviously know he's not his father, so it's not going to be that level of greatness.
Could not do that ever.
He's the second most talented brother out of him and Dustin.
Yes.
But again, I'm not going to say it's bad, but it ain't. It's exactly okay. Does this make sense? It's exactly what it should be. It's a mid-card spectacular match.
Yes.
That makes sense?
It does make sense to me, yes.
Okay, so you obviously were watching when Michael Hayes was working with the Hardys.
Yeah.
I feel like Matt's doing that now with Private Party. I feel like Matt is...
He's kind of the Michael Hayes of the group?
So
okay.
You've seen Private Party a couple of times.
Yeah.
I feel like they're a car wreck waiting to happen because they try to do too many flips, but maybe this is Private Party hopefully getting a little more serious and they're not going to wear the stupid little outfits that make them look like, fancy guys. I know they're called Private Party, but it's like, dude, just like, can we do something serious in this company for 5 minutes?
Yeah, I hear Private Party. I think something totally different.
Yeah, that's not what I think.
Yeah,
but
All right.
But they defeated the Inner Circle, Santana and Ortiz, who, I'm sorry, Pride and Powerful Pride, whatever that. They're P&P now. I don't know what the hell they're calling themselves, but they've been made into a joke because they're not as good as they were when they were not OG LAX, but the new LAX. But like,
yeah.
I just...
It's bad when people can come into this and they're worse. Also, how is that possible?
Also, Leroy, can we look at the Inner Circle for 5 minutes? Sammy Guevara is gone. We know he's been suspended. He's going to sensitivity training. But can we look at the Inner Circle, which the basis of it is, I think, I don't remember if by the way, again, going back to bad booking, did MJF actually agree to be in the Inner Circle, or did him and Jericho just jerk each other off for 20 minutes?
I think it was a jerk off session.
Anyway, okay, so here's the deal. The top is Chris Jericho. GOAT status, maybe falling apart these days because he's in his 50s now, close to it. Yeah. And he's now involved with this outlaw indie crap. And yes, I still love the indies, but this is the worst example of indie wrestling. Whereas what I've been to, where I feel like when we watch a guy like Eric Cannon, Darren Corbin, that's the best of indie wrestling. First Wrestling is the best. Even though they've booked Orange Cassidy, it's still the best of indie wrestling.
Yeah,
But it's just... Okay, so Jericho, right?
Yes.
Running a faction. It makes sense to have Jake Hager because he's a big, powerful guy, but Jake Hager looks like he would be in a faction with Chris Jericho.
Yes.
They look like they would hang out outside. But do Sammy Guevara, who, by the way, I'm not going to get into the thing going on with him right now, but he looks like a punk-ass little kid. He does. But Santana and Ortiz look like they're street punk thugs. That's kind of the gimmick. I'm not calling them thugs. Yeah. No offense to them in real life, but that's what they're performing as. I hate using the word performing, but do they make sense together as a friggin' faction?
No.
Can we delve into a side topic? Can I do that? Can I throw a challenge flag? Because now apparently you can do that in wrestling thanks to the stadium shit throw. Can I throw a challenge flag for a minute and just add some? Let's talk about factions for a second, okay?
We're gonna do it right now?
No. It's not a topic.
okay.
I want to use this as an example as to what I'm going with. When you think about some of the greatest factions of all time, and oddly enough, Triple H is in most of them. Evolution,
he's in a couple of them.
D-Generation X, even the Brood.
Yeah.
Didn't everyone look like they fit together?
Yeah, like the Nation Domination. They look like they fit together.
And that's not a black joke. That's legitimately, they looked like four guys who could wrestle and looked like they could beat you up. They looked dominating. They did. When you had Mark Henry, you had D'Lo when he was still good, in his prime there. When you had The Rock coming into his own, you had, just.
So yeah,
no. That's not what it's just.
Yeah, or
they can't even build a faction right.
The Four Horsemen.
Yes.
Boom.
They
you got Arn
dressed
there.
Like champions.
You have Arn there. Why can't he help them? Or is he drunk? I don't know. Well, I shouldn't say that.
No. That's
but
yeah, fair, but some of them might be. But anyway,
yes.
but no, it's just when you build a stable,
They gotta look like.
No,
They
no,
gotta.
no,
What
no,
does it look
no.
like?
It's not even look alike. They
gotta-
have to look like they would hang out outside of the business.
Yeah.
And Chris Jericho, the rocker Chris Jericho, the Pilates doing Diamond Dallas Page yoga instructing guy, Chris Jericho does not look like he would hang out with Sammy freaking Guevara. Unless, of course, Chris Jericho has passed over into La La Land of, I'm just going to do all this stuff so I can look cool with the young guys. Unless that's where Chris is right now. I don't see
Maybe he is. I don't know.
I don't see Chris Jericho hanging out with Sammy Guevara. I see Chris Jericho mentoring Sammy Guevara. I can see him mentoring Santana and Ortiz. But I don't see Chris Jericho hanging out with these guys. I don't see them sitting around shooting the shit talking about the latest heavy metal album.
No.
I don't.
I'd highly doubt that.
I don't. I just don't. I mean, seriously, the inner circle has been one of the few bright spots only because it's Jericho talking half the time. When he wrestles, it's okay, but we're going to talk here in a little bit about how most recently Chris Jericho, the legend Chris Jericho, on the Mount Rushmore of smaller guys, was recently involved in the lowest rated segment in the history of AEW television, which is pretty low, by the way. But anyway, moving on. A surprise match that was announced that night, which, again, why are we setting this man up to be what he is, which is a failure? I don't have to watch him die like a flaming pile of poop. Why is Joey Janela versus Lance Archer?
I don't know.
Lance Archer shows up. He's in this big thing. He gets to the finals of this new tournament to be a champion. He's got Jake the Snake Roberts in his corner. And he faces
That's the one thing he has going for him.
Freaking But he's 6'8", Leroy.
Yeah.
He's a badass big guy that can go. And by the way, his run in New Japan was amazing. Really sort of a bring back to Lance Archer. But like, oh my god, he's in the ring. Like, this is why I don't want Adam Cole to go here. You're sitting here and you're telling me that you're going to take this seriously, and yet you're going to put Adam Cole and Lance Archer in the ring with guys like Marco Stunt and Joey Janela, the bad boy. Bro, you're a skateboarding tweaker-looking motherfucker, and I don't care if that's 3 on the show. I'll hold back for 2 more shows. I don't give a shit. I'm so angry with this crap. But it's just like, for the love of God, stop trying to convince me that just because he was big on the internet with his crazy, stupid stunts, no pun intended with Marco Stunt, that Joey Janela is a star. He's a fat idiot who friggin' had the first ever AEW match I watched, which was the first ever match they ever had, he gets a friggin' cigarette stapled to his head because he brought it in the ring and lit it up in the middle of the match.
Oh my god.
This happened!
I'm glad I did not see that.
This happened! But just for the love of Christ. Anyway, moving on. Then we get to the main event of the evening. Kenny Omega, the world's greatest wrestler, who's been regulated to being a tag team champion, even though supposedly the world's greatest tag team is in AEW. We're going to put Kenny Omega and Adam Page together.
And do they even like each other?
Well, here's the thing, Leroy.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hold on. Let me point something out. A team that was sadly being built correctly for a short time. They're opposites.
They are.
In that Kenny Omega's straight edge and Adam Page likes to drink. But they were having matches where they were messing up. They were hitting each other. They were messing around and stuff would get wrong. But apparently the last couple of weeks, not only have they gotten along perfectly, they've had no issues in the ring. So you built that for a couple weeks. Let's just write that off TV. No one cares. They're facing the best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent. I no longer have a last name, but I'm actually somewhat good at what I do.
Maybe that helps him with no last name.
A quick question. Did you see or hear what happened before this match?
I kind of heard that Adam Page was nowhere to be found.
Well, it's fine. The best friends were dropped off in a minivan.
By their mummies?
No. By Trent's, I think it was Trent's, real-life mommy, who then turned around and said, you can't leave until you give mommy a peck on the cheek. Here's the deal. I'm okay with this. No, hold on.
Okay.
I'm okay with this. But I'm okay with this if it's a freaking Wednesday night in the middle of freaking June that I don't care about, which I guess this was.
Yes.
But, like, no, actually, no, July 1st, so yeah, it wasn't June. But it's like, if this was a random thing and you were building the Best Friends as this sort of gimmicky, stupid tag team little boy thing, whatever. But I'm supposed to take them seriously as being the number one contenders for the AEW World Tag Team Champions. No.
No, I was seeing that. No.
Also, I'd like to point out, by the way, go back and watch every Best Friends match outside of this BS hug that they do. Well, that's their thing, as everyone knows. That's their hug in the middle of the ring. That's the that's the Orange Cassidy hands in the pockets moment for Best Friends as they hug in the middle of the ring. Which, by the way, during the match, they actually had the World Tag Team Champions in their clutches. They were about to become the World Tag Team Champions, and then they had to hug. Because once again, this is an indie mud show BS crap, and we have to get everything that ever made us famous on the indies out on a national television show. But anyway, they hug, they lose the match. Adam Page is now still the World Tag Team Champion with Kenny Omega. They're all of a sudden cool with each other, even though they've been building them as this opposites attract water and fire thing. I don't know,
fire,
dude.
oil,
But just like, oh, by the way, Leroy, like I was going to say, go back and watch every Best Friends match since they've been on TV. They beat Trent every time. He is always getting pinned. It's never Chuck Taylor.
So Trent's the bitch.
Basically.
Okay.
Even though Trent's the only dude that actually looks like a wrestler in this tag team. But just...
Yeah.
For the love of God, can we, for one moment... Oh, by the way, I want to point out, what is wrestling? Good versus evil. Babyface, heel.
Yes.
They're both babyface tag teams.
Yeah,
for the World
no
Tag Team. And this was the main event, Leroy. This was 15 and a half minutes of the main... again, 15 minutes so that everyone can get the same shit out. Kenny Omega can point and act like a freaking ballet dancer, and they can turn around and the Best Friends can hug, and Adam Page can be a drunk in the corner. All of this for what? To give me the same tag team crap I've seen since night one? The Best Friends can wrestle. Cool. Whatever. I don't care. Are you entertaining? Can you friggin' cut a promo? I don't know, because your mom's driving your ass to the ring.
Mom has to cut a promo for him.
God damn. Oh, by the way, during this match, FTR, who are now in AEW, who are probably the best tag team in the world,
yeah, they are very good.
Yeah, they show up with lawn chairs because some no-name undercard tag team stole their truck. So now we got that going on.
Oh, God.
Why? And by the way, for those of you out there who are like, oh, you're just, once again, trying to carbon copy Jim Cornette, I tend to agree with Jim Cornette on the BS that I'm watching. Just because it sounds a lot like what he's saying, I'm also not lying when I'm giving you a spot-for-spot moment in this goddamn match. Just because I'm angry about it doesn't mean I'm trying to copy someone else.
All you gotta say is, the old saying is like, if it looks like poo, if it smells like poo, it's poo.
Oh, by the way, can we just go on to night 2 so we can preview that? You got Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. Which, by the way, their promo on the last Dynamite was the lowest rated segment in history. Chris Jericho, who was supposed to be there to boost the ratings. Orange Cassidy, who you've been building to be this amazing superstar since the day you debuted on TV, and it's the lowest rated segment because at this point, your freaking audience doesn't give a crap about you anymore anyway. We'll talk about that in half a second. But here's the deal. FTR, the greatest tag team in the world. So, they are the greatest tag team in the world.
Yes.
The Bucks are billed as the greatest tag team in the world. This is a pay-per-view. They're teaming together.
I see that, yes.
You're not even going to have a match. You're not even... Oh, and apparently the Lucha Brothers somehow made it back into the States. Don't know how that worked out, but they made it back into the States. Anyway, I don't care about the rest of Night 2. By the way, apparently on Night 2, Kenny Omega and Adam Page will be once again defending the AEW World.
All right.
2 nights in a row. So
well,
we're done with
there
that
you
crap.
go.
I'm gonna throw this at Leroy if I can. This is...
Just a bit outside.
So anyway, we are now going to get to the crux of my issue. Leroy, have you heard the numbers of the last 2 weeks of the Wednesday Night Wars? For those of you who don't know, the Wednesday Night Wars started when AEW Dynamite debuted and NXT debuted, and they've been going to head-to-head And again, this is a Wednesday night. I'm not expecting a huge number. It's the middle of the week. No one cares about TV. Whatever. But AEW was potatoing them in the rankings.
Oh, yeah. That's what I've seen all week.
AEW was always... Now, again, I'm not saying AEW is the better show. Obviously, I prefer NXT. But the wrestling fans wanted the alternative. They got it. Whatever. So, have you heard the ratings from June 24th and July 1st, which was the last Dynamite in NXT before the Great American Bash Fighter Fest, and then the first night of Fighter Fest?
I did not hear the numbers, but I thought I heard that NXT
has won both weeks. For the first time, NXT has won 2 weeks in a row. It also might be the first 2 weeks they've won in general this whole time. But, Leroy, this is what's surprising. According to the source that I used, I forget it at this point, I looked it up. I just looked it up on Google.
All right, yeah.
June 24th, AEW ended the show at 633,000 viewers. Not terrible for a Wednesday night.
No, not bad at all, yeah.
NXT had 786,000. That's 153,000 people were watching NXT over AEW. And everyone's out there is like, but hey, we won the demographic of 17 to 49-year-olds. I get it, that's how you build sponsorships, but I'm telling you right now, you keep dropping like this, you keep losing like this overall, network ain't going to give a damn what your rating is, they ain't going to give a damn about the demographic, the sponsors care, but at the end of the day, if you keep getting potatoed like this, you're going to have a problem.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
Also, again, the debut episode of Dynamite, I'm pretty sure hit 1 million viewers. So in less than, what was it, October, September they debuted?
Something like that, yeah.
In less than a year, you've lost almost half your viewership. That's not good, boys! That ain't good! Also, I'd like to point out, if you're winning the 17 to 49 demographic, which I know everybody wants, guys, that's the demographic of people who are going to turn around and probably stop watching you at some point anyway because they're only into you right now because it's the cool, edgy thing to do. But after a while, when, like I said earlier, the Bucks having their same old bullshit, when they realize after 2 years you're doing the same old bullshit, and yes, we all know they got renewed very early with a 4-year deal. I'm going to explain that during my rant because I want to delve deep into that TV contract that everyone's like, oh my god, 4 years, $175 million for a show that runs 50 weeks a year. Do the math, you morons. I'll do it for you during my review. But anyway, July 1st, night 1 of Fyter Fest versus the Great American Bash. AEW 749,000, NXT 792,000. So NXT is quote unquote getting better.
Yeah.
And they're potatoing you more. They're getting better. They're
good in general. I don't know how. I'm good. They're getting better. I mean, I enjoy NXT a lot.
But again, this goes back to what I was saying is that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, your show has to get better. Your show has to tell a story. It has to enhance the viewership. It has to be different week to week, which NXT is building to the future. They're building to the big matches. AEW is the same up every week. It gets boring. It gets tiresome. Also, by the way, little note for people who haven't actually heard this, apparently Brian Last over at the 605 podcast, who works with Jim Cornette on the Jim Cornette Experience, actually did a correlation to where apparently, and this has been proven during letters to Jim Cornette during the drive-thru, apparently Jim Cornette choosing to take 6 weeks off from reviewing anything in AEW, people stopped watching.
Oh my God.
So apparently, a bunch of these viewers for AEW were only watching because they wanted Jim to rip it apart later on anyway. That's not... Yes, some people are sitting here saying, well, you're giving viewership to the enemy. Why are you doing that? I'm like, you're watching them as an ironic joke. That's not something you should be proud of.
No.
But again, this is what AEW is. Spot Monkey Wrestling are probably, as Jim said about the Stadium shit show, he called it the Stadium Fuckery or whatever it was, but we're going to call it the Stadium Stampede. I don't... Whatever.
You gotta... Yeah.
But that was Jim's.
Yes, all right, yeah, that was Jim's.
It's just... They're probably going to be told, hey, we're going to do a skit on Saturday Night Live about about AEW. And the guys on AEW are like, that's clickbait. That's internet views. We're going to win because we're on SN. They're laughing at you, you idiots. Nobody gives a shit about your damn show unless they're basically making fun of it. Half of your audience is watching because it's funny and silly and it's the alternative to WWE, and they're watching because this is the new trendy thing. But when you've been around for 4 years, at the end of this next contract, you're still only pulling in $600,000, and AEW's up in the NXT's up in the $800,000 or $900,000 or the $1 million range, or the million viewer range. When they're getting better and they're changing and they're being unique and they're bringing in more viewers because they're getting the casual viewer, and I can guarantee you that about 300,000 people are going to take a look at this bullshit and be like, it's the same shit it was 4 years ago. Oh, and by the way, they keep doing all this car wreck crap. They're all going to get hurt in 4 years, and they're not going to be there.
Yeah, they won't be. Yeah, they got to think about that.
I just don't understand. Why does every match have to look like Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon? If it's a pay-per-view, you better damn sure give me my money's worth. But if it's an average Wednesday in the middle of the week, I don't care. Give me something that's going to be compelling. Give me something that's going to make me tune in next week. Don't give me the same shit 2 weeks in a row, and then I sit there and ask myself, why am I watching this again? I thought I already watched this. Why do I have to watch the Best Friends 4 weeks in a row do the same tag team match, whether the opponents are the same or not? They're doing the same shit. Any thoughts on this, Leroy? The numbers don't lie, by the way. America.
Oh, no, they don't.
Forget this demographic crap. That's what you guys are holding on to in Spot Monkey land.
Yeah.
You're holding on to your demographic.
And I'm in that demographic, and I'm not going to waste my time watching AEW. I mean, I watch...
And neither will most of the demographic unless they see the same shit in 3 years.
Yeah, it's like, I like watching wrestling, and what I've been watching for years.
I had a rough day at work, so I'm really happy.
Yes.
Anyway, go on.
NXT gives me that. I mean, it gives me what I'm looking for.
But it also doesn't. But that's what makes you come back.
Yeah.
It teases you a little bit. It forces you to come back because, again, you're going to get what you want. You just have to keep tuning in to when it's finally going to happen. Meanwhile, over in Spot Monkey land, it's like, I got it. Now I'm bored.
Mm-hmm.
That's all Spot Monkey Wrestling is. I get it. I'm bored. I don't care who you are. I don't care how loyal you are. Bands have to change their sound occasionally in order to get new fans. Prime example was Avenged Sevenfold. Avenged Sevenfold started out as a metalcore band. Then they got into hard rock heavy metal. There was still an essence of their metalcore in their hard rock. And then they put out an album called Hail to the King that sounded like a Metallica ripoff. Now, mind you, they told you they were going to do that, so I wasn't angry when I heard it. But it made a lot of their fans angry. It brought in new fans, and their old fans were pissed, but the old fans didn't leave them. But bands have to change. Bands have to evolve. Sports teams have to evolve with the times. They have to do what it takes to bring viewership in. But just because you have a billionaire and just because you're profitable, boys, and yeah, okay, fine, you're profitable. That's going to end, too, if you keep giving me the same shit every single night. And at some point... Oh, by the way, to all of you Spot Monkey fans out there, I'd like to point something out. Your man in charge, Tony Khan, doesn't actually own AEW. His father has the money. His daddy is paying for him to play wrestling promoter. This is basically just going to end up being Dixie Carter all over again.
I think so.
At some point... Khan is going to cut his son off the same way Dixie's dad cut her off.
And
it's going to
smart
happen.
To do.
It's going to happen unless you reach the... By the way, can I point something out? They lost the ratings war 2 weeks in a row, right?
Yeah.
They're also not even hitting 1 million. Whether or not NXT is a better show than Raw or SmackDown, the roster is more talented, it's still the C show in terms of production value, in terms of how much Vince gives a crap about it. So you're barely beating the third show that Vince McMahon cares about. It goes SmackDown because of the new Fox deal, Raw because it's the brand that launched everything, and then NXT. You're losing to Vince's third side project. Are you flipping kidding me? You think you're winning and you think you're competing with the WWE with Raw and SmackDown? You think you're on par with that when you can barely beat NXT? No!
It's all in their head. Yeah. Now they're smoking something that they shouldn't be or should. I'm not sure, but yeah, they're brain dead.
But I mean, again, Leroy, am I wrong with anything I've said?
Oh no. People are going to disagree with you, and
which is fine.
Please do.
Come
Send
on the
us
show.
comments.
Come on the show. I'll yell at you the same way you yell at me.
Oh heck yeah!
But just. We gotta get to this review quick because I'm gonna pop if I don't get to this review quick. Just,
we will set it up here in the next couple of weeks. We got to set it up.
Yeah, we do. But just, ladies and gentlemen, you people are trying to tell me I don't get wrestling. I don't get modern wrestling. I don't get the psychology of apparently the best friends going 11 to 15 minutes every single night with a different tag team, doing the same moveset 4 goddamn times in the same match, and then hugging and losing because they had to get the hug in to make their internet fans all warm and fuzzy inside. I don't understand that, or maybe I don't want to understand it because it's bullshit. Screw you, AEW fan base, because you know what? I will watch this only because I'm going to review it. Because I want to make sure every wrestling company succeeds. But I don't care if this one succeeds if they're going to keep giving me this hokey-tokey bull crap that is the constant same, everyone else jerking each other off. What's going on, guys? This is creative, by the way. I guarantee this is creative. The Young Bucks walk in and say, hey, what do you want to do in this tag team match? Pause. Cool, we're going to do that in the tag team match. There's no. Everything is a yes.
Yep. I think we've probably watched more classic wrestling than any of these guys combined. Which, some of them, they got to do that so they can learn and actually do something different.
Don't sit there and tell me that they're winning something when at the end of the day you have one show, one brand, and it's barely beating, and it's now officially consistently on a losing streak to Vince's C show. And don't give me AEW Dark, where they put on matches on their YouTube show, which is after their show is taped. You are putting, and again, by the way, there are big name, high quality matches on AEW Dark. What?
Why on Dark?
Thank you. Why is it not on TV?
I don't know, because they're thinking ass backwards.
Yes, this whole thing is ass backwards. They've put the cart before the horse, and the cart is we're better than Vince, and the horse is the shit they have to do to actually make a quality television show. That's it.
That's it.
Until my rant, where I will literally be flicking Leroy off every time he looks at me and says, hey, this is how long you've been on, I'm going to tell him to go himself. Thank you all for listening. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, definitely.
We are hoping to get someone else on the show next week. Obviously, right now, everyone's got stuff going on. Hopefully, it's a little cooler in here, and I won't sweat like a stuffed pig. But Leroy always sweats like a stuffed pig, but he looks like a stuffed pig.
Well, yeah, that helps that, too.
Yeah, you know. Very hairy stuffed pig. Anyway.
Hey, I love the hair.
Also, we'd like to thank all of our likes on Facebook. We are now up to 102. We're very thankful. I'm going to be honest. I know we want thousands and thousands of these, but to get to 100 is saying something. That says that we've maybe got to some people who are listening to us consistently, and I'm very proud of that. And we're up to 19 subscribers on YouTube. We want more people to subscribe to YouTube, because once we get more subscribers, then we're going to start putting out more content on there, and that's going to be a lot of fun for us, and hopefully it's a lot of fun for all of you guys. So like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on there. We're also on Spotify and iTunes. Thank you all so much for listening. Leroy, is there anything you'd like to say on the way out?
Well, yeah. Go to YouTube, and I've said it before, and we'll say it again, and Zach has said it. Go watch some of our videos. Go watch the Darren Corbin interview. You can see me getting hurt. You know, if that ain't much fun to watch on YouTube.
If that don't get us 1,000 views alone,
damn right.
I don't know what will.
My own kids, they love me, but they laughed hysterically when they saw that happen.
It was funny.
It was. It was a good one.
I'm your friend, but I enjoy you getting hurt.
And the other videos, I mean, the D'Lo interview, great one to watch. Everything. And, yeah, hopefully we get more content, more people on there.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom's listening. I don't know how much you're listening because we swore a little bit more this time, but hey. Oh, well.
We're grown-ass adults. Anyway,
Yes.
Thank you all so much, and we will see you guys next time. We will have you listen to us next time. So for Leroy and Zach, thank you all for listening. This is us from 13 Cards Subject to Change. Have a wonderful day, and enjoy the Great American Bash, and I guess... Hold on.
Maybe watch another one.
Hold on. I'm going to throw up off camera. Okay.
Okay.
Enjoy Fyter Fest. Turn off the camera.